Pretty damn loud. Okay, let's get this going. Barely thing. My volume up. Okay. Ba-ba. Let's load. Let's load. Come on, we can do this. Okay, well that's my one coin used. Okay, well I don't have much there. Expect I can't use this till until they happen. Yeah, poor Chihiro. Okay, let's get into this. Hopefully some more people will arrive. I want to get started and investigate the murder. Investigating. Right button would help. Make sure sound's coming through, because I keep on messing up my sound. Okay.
Sounds coming through.
Okay, that's working. We could at least try to figure out what we should check without my help. There's a dick. Maybe this gun was used to... No, impossible. If that were true, Chihiro would be riddled with holes. There are a bunch of different looking pool-related items on the shelf which have nothing to do with the case. Flotation donut. I don't think it's related to what happened to Chihiro. If I remember right, this card reader is meant to work with our handbooks, right?
What?
You have an issue with it? If so, you should take it up with Monokuma. He did that then, quickly and sharply clapped his hands together.
Did you call for me?
You called for me? Oh. Has he been domesticated?
That's right.
Seems like Makoto has a question for you.
You need something?
Sure, what's up? Well, it's about the card reader.
Yep.
Yes, the card readers have all been designed to interface with your ebooks. You can only enter the locker room corresponding to the gender listed on your individual handbook. And it's impossible for two people in a row to go through while the door is unlocked, correct? If there was some sort of erotic terrorist on the prowl, the ceiling-mounted Gatling gun would initiate a Swiss cheese slaughter. And the school regulations prohibit anyone from lending someone else their handbook, correct?
Of course.
Correct. So then, that means only girls can go into the girls' locker room and only boys can go into the boys' locker room. In other words, Chihiro's body being found in the girls' locker room means... Hey Makoto, I can see right through you. See right through me? Allow me to tell you what you're thinking. Since Chihiro was found in the girls' locker room, the killer must have been able to get in there.
In other words,
As such, the killer must be one of the girls. Did I get it right?
such ignorance.
Good lord, you're simple. But am I wrong? You should pay closer attention to the regulations they answer in front of you this entire time. Loaning your e-handbook to another student is strictly prohibited. The only act of loaning a handbook is prohibited. Borrowing someone else's is perfectly fine. I would expect nothing less from the prodigal son of the noble Tagami family. So you managed to sniff out the loophole in the regulations. Knowing you, I'd bet you created it on purpose, didn't you? To add a little more excitement to things. Yeah, you're treating me like a puny little appetizer instead of the main course that I am. Now then, since the dead can't actually talk, they're not people anymore, they're things.
Yep.
Get it? Got it? Good. Wait, hold on, you're saying that that's a loophole, but in order to borrow something from someone, then that means someone would have to loan it. So,
Why you?
so sleepy. Just listening to you makes me want to pass out. Be more like Byakuya. Get your poop together. Or else I'll charge you with criminal negligence. No more questions. Figure out the rest on your own damn self.
That's fine.
Well, I know you're unfortunately lacking in mental faculty, so I'll fill you in myself. Let's head to the main hall. Main hall? That'll help you understand what's going on. Card reader has been added to the truth bullet section of my handbook. We came to the main hall. So what are we looking for here? Does that mean I have to figure out for myself? There's a mailbox here. Could there be something inside? An e-handbook. No wait, there's 3 of them. But what are they doing here? So you finally found them. And did you know these were here, Byakuya? I happened to find them by chance myself the other day. It seems there's a system in place where the handbooks of dead students get delivered to this mailbox. So then, there's 3 handbooks belong to Junko, Leon, and Sayaka. You can go ahead and confirm it yourself. I immediately told her one of the handbooks. Oh, well, I did. Sayaka Mizuno. You're right, this is Sayaka's handbook. Now do you understand this is the key to the loophole that I revealed earlier? Yeah, I feel like I'm starting to get it. You should pay closer attention to the regulations. The answer's been in front of you the entire time. Loaning your e-handbook to another student is strictly prohibited. The act of loaning a handbook is prohibited. Only the act of loaning a handbook is prohibited. Borrowing someone else's is perfectly fine. I see, yeah. Now I understand.
What?
Hold on a second. What's
Very
wrong?
strange.
That's strange. One of the handbooks won't turn on. Is it broken? Whose is it? The other handbook shows Junko name when I started it up. And the one that won't turn on must be Leon's, right?
I see.
It would make sense, yes. After all, he did get pummeled with dozens and dozens of baseballs. Pummeled with baseballs. Memory of it came flooding back. Cruel punishment which led to Leon's death. The execution that the mastermind concocted. Cruel, heartless death. You're right, it wouldn't be surprising for the handbook to break during that kind of assault.
Damn it!
Hey, hey! Hey, 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 hey!
Now I'm...
Hey! What? An e-handbook is essential to student life here. Crucial, integral, instrumental, a super big deal. There's no way it would break that easily. But it did.
That's impossible!
If I say it wouldn't break, it wouldn't freaking break. It can withstand up to 10 tons of pressure, and it's waterproof up to 100 meters, okay? I don't care how many baseballs you hit it with, it wouldn't do crap. Oh, but even my amazing handbook does have one single weak point.
I
It
can
does?
hear you!
But it's a secret. I wouldn't want you to get breaking. Wouldn't want you to go breaking any more handbooks.
What?
Now, Leon must have broke it somehow without realizing what its weakness was, right? Hard to say. It might not be his. It could be. Could it be Chihiro's? I'm not sure. I can't remember whether she had it on her or not. You know what I think? I think this handbook isn't actually broken.
What?
But you might ask, how could that be? Leaving the question hanging in the air, Monokuma disappeared. Maybe he's run out of battery? What just happened? Monokuma said it's not broken, but it's an undeniable fact that it's not turning on.
Fine.
Well, I don't see any connection to the case, so it doesn't matter for now. You think so? Either way, something about it still bothers me. Biddly bong! The handbook has been added to the truth bullets. Okay then, this should be enough to get things rolling. Let's begin our investigation in earnest and track down the true culprits. Okay, we need to find out who killed Chihiro. To be exact, not quite. Huh? Not quite? There's a mailbox here, and inside, 3 handbooks. We assume they're Junko's, Leon's, and Sayaka's. It looks like the handbooks of any dead students are brought here to the mailbox somehow. The rule says loaning your e-handbook to another student is strictly prohibited, only lending it against the rules. In other words, there's no problem with borrowing one. One other thing that bothers me, the fact that Leon's handbook won't turn on. Excuse me, Monokuma said that Leon's handbook isn't broken, but it just won't turn on. That much is certain. Is it really unrelated to the case? Either way, something about it still bothers me. One of the monitors shows the school crest. A hunk of metal blocking the entrance seems like some kind of machine. What do you mean by that? Byakuya, to be exact. Not quite. Certainly I want to reveal Chihiro's killer, but more precisely, I want to discover the true identity of Genocide Jack. And you really think you truly believe Genocide Jack is the one that killed
Don't make me
Chihiro?
repeat myself.
Absolutely, I have no doubt that Genocide Jack is the culprit in this case. That murderous fiend is Genocide Jack, right? Nobody else it could be. A murderous fiend who kills again and again using a bizarre and brutal method. They're like a ghost, attacking suddenly, then slipping away before the police can catch up to them. And what nickname did the internet give to this mysterious serial killer? Genocide Jack. They said he's killed thousands of people, but that's got to be an urban legend. Still, could one of us really be the demented psychotic killer like that? I mean, it's pointing towards Toko? I mean, that's where the game is at least inferring that Toko's gone mad. I think it's Toko, the writer girl, the ultimate writer. You're not wrong to wonder, but words mean little right now. I have something that will prove it, and I can show you. Can you show me then? And I have a basis to prove that. I assure you, Genocide Jack is one of us. Okay. Is there any proof? There's somewhere I'd like to take you. This will provide all the evidence you need.
Clear now.
Evidence that Genocide Jack is the one that killed Chihiro. Evidence does something like that, really? Ah, you two. Big trouble, need your help.
I don't have time to play
We're
with.
busy, leave us alone.
I mean,
But it's an emergency, emergency. Come on, please, you gotta help me. Where are we going?
please.
This is serious. Emergency, please, please, you gotta help me. Calm down, okay, Hina? But it's an emergency. Okay. An emergency, what happened?
Well,
Something's wrong with Toko, she's acting super strange. Well, I mean, she was acting pretty strange earlier, right? What should we do, Byakuya?
Very strange.
Since it's Toko, I must admit, I'm intrigued. Suppose we can get a second to see what's going on with her? Are you sure?
Don't make me repeat myself.
I didn't expect that. I thought for sure he'd say no, and then that would be the end of it.
yeah.
Okay, okay, come on, hurry. Wait
Let's
for us,
go.
Hina. Looks like she's headed to the dorms, to Toko's room, most likely. You're right. She's gone mad. Is Toko inside some kind of emergency? You guys are too slow. I think you're just too fast. So what's this emergency?
So,
Well, after what happened with the girls' locker room, we left Toko in her room so she could lay down. After a while, I came back to check on her, you know, and see how she was doing. But when I did, it was weird. She refused to come out. She kept saying all this weird stuff. Weird stuff?
That's fine.
We should try talking to her ourselves. Yeah, good idea. Hurry up and do it. Might as well give it a shot. Ding dong. The door swung open slowly and silently. It's going mad. Holy crap. An aura of negativity flowed out from behind the door, forcing a grasp out of me. A gasp. What?
Nothing. It's just that Hina was really worried about you, holding yourself up in your room.
leave me alone.
Yeah, sure thing. But could you open up just for a second?
Won't allow it.
Huh?
I won't let Genocide Jack have control.
And just like that, she slammed the door in my face. What was that? She's been acting like that the whole time when I rang a little while ago. So has this got something to do with the embarrassing statements? She act like that the whole time. I'll drive out the killer. Drive out the murderous fiend. Doesn't make any sense, right? I was afraid to leave her in there alone, so I tried to bust down the door, but it felt like something was holding it shut on the other side. I couldn't even budge it. Toko was scared enough to even bar her door. Think the same thing as Byakuya? Does she think that serial killer Genocide Jack really murdered Chihiro? Why Toko so scared?
But
Whatever it is, I'm really worried about her. Is there anyone who might be able to persuade her to... trade friends with Sakura? I saw someone on the map. There it is. I'm really worried about her. That might be so... I can't speak properly. Go find someone. Oh, what's your fancy beer here? Hey Byakuya, you think you can ask her? Come out of her room, I mean.
That's fine.
Sure, whatever. You gonna talk to her, Byakuya? Wow, I guess you can be nice when you want to. Byakuya stood in the door in front of her, making her door not making a sound, and pressed the doorbell. Ding dong. After a few moments...
What do you want?
Leave me alone, you're so annoying. Ah, Byakuya.
It's Byakuya.
I'm sorry, I couldn't keep our promise. But don't worry, never again. I won't let Genocide Jack have control ever again. And with that, the door slammed shut. Even Byakuya couldn't pull it off. Nothing else we can do. Let's get back to the investigation. Hold on. Byakuya, what was Toko talking about just now? Talking about a promise. Oh, I have no idea. Another one of her delusions, I'm sure. But if I say I don't know what that means, I don't know. Just let Hina take care of her. Oh, yeah, okay. I'll stay here and keep an eye on her.
Let's go.
Well then, let's go. While waiting for a reply, Byakuya sped away. Byakuya! And I hurried to catch him. I tried to talk to him several times as we walked, but he didn't even look back, let alone say anything. He just kept on walking towards his destination. A watch off. Finally, his feet brought him to stop in front of a certain room. Library. Come on, let's go in. He's been guiding the one room over and over. Oh, shit. Dropped my controller. Is the evidence that proves it was Genocide Jack really in the library?
Don't make me repeat myself.
Don't make me say it again. Such a dick. I remember on the other side of this door, the archive, right? I reckon go inside. Oh, here?
Let's go.
It all makes sense when you're inside. Whoa, there's so many books and files. Yeah, in an archive. So much dust too.
So, in other words,
I would say there's enough value in this place to endure the dust. Wooden bolts. Although judging by the smudges in the dust, it looks like there was something inside. Wonder what it was. There was an extension cord plugged in there. It proved very useful while I was in the library. Extension cord, huh? Oh, it's a desk lamp. Oh yeah, it's the same one I saw by Byakuya using in the... For Christ's sake, I've got to stop fucking yawning. Yeah, it's the same one I saw Byakuya using in the library before.
what?
Do you have a problem with that lamp? It was there before and I moved it over here. It's too dark over there, so I thought I'd put it to good use. This shelf is stuffed tight with files. Without really thinking about it, I picked one up at random. Ah, you have a sharp eye indeed to select that file. Huh?
That's right.
That's the report on the presidential assassination. The original is kept at the National Library. It won't be declassified for another 30 years. Are you sure you want to look at that now? There's no telling whose crosshairs you might wind up in peeking at it. Without making a sound, I return the file to the shelf. so many files stuffed into the shelf. It's all these things. In all these things.
That's enough.
These documents, those documents are dangerous. Dangerous? They detail the people who control the world from behind the scenes. Dangerous truth for a commoner. You mean like members of the Diet or something? I mean the ones with the real power, the secret council, controlling everything from the shadows. You're ready to be disappeared for it? Take a look. There are some very interesting people in there. You're just kidding, right? Am I? I'll just let it go for now. There's even a surveillance camera here. There's a ton of thick files stuffed onto the bookshelf. If you're thinking of looking through any of them, let me give you a little warning. Those things are filled with graphic, disturbing photos from all kinds of crime scenes. It's the kind of thing that any normal person wouldn't ever want to look at. Be careful. Oh, what do you mean? Well, those files there are investigation reports related to different cold cases. Those are internal documents for police eyes only. They're not the kind of thing you'd expect to leak. Oh? So you're finally beginning to understand the true splendor of this library. The entire reason I was interested in the library is because of this room right here.
Interesting.
It's home to the classified government documents, police reports, things no ordinary person would ever see. Isn't it magnificent? Can't be for real, right?
Such ignorance.
What's your guys' problem? Anything that doesn't fit into your preconceived reality, you label it a lie. Well, it's not that, it's just not like I totally refuse to believe it, but I mean, there's just so much. How could anyone put all this together? I suppose it goes to show just how much power the Hope's Peak truly wields, or perhaps the mastermind may have wanted to provide us with enough entertainment to keep us from getting bored. It's no use, I can't keep up with all this, it's just too unreal. What's wrong, you still can't believe it? What about you? How can you believe it so easily? Things like that are usually impossible. What do you mean usually? Usual, normal, ordinary, simple, those things don't exist anywhere in the real world. If you don't understand what they actually represent, you don't understand the nature of anything. You don't pull your punches, do you? Besides, what you consider normal, usual, is based on your common sense, right? Well, what makes you think your own common sense applies to me at all? The documents gathered here are genuine. I have reviewed them multiple times. There's no doubt. Hold on a second. You're saying you've read all of these documents and more than once? But all this has to be like top secret confidential stuff, right? So why? My family has a reading room just like this in our home. Ours is bigger, of course, and not so dusty. Members of the Tagami family have access to any variety of government-related documents. That includes foreign powers as well as domestic. How is that possible?
So in other words,
I already told you there's a secret council that controls the world from the shadows. My family is a member of that council, and I have within me the bloodline that allows me to one day bend the world to my will. But to become such a ruler, I must know all levels of this world backwards and forwards. So whenever I have time, I like to review whatever documents and materials that interest me. Which is why I can proclaim without a doubt that the materials gathered here are the real thing. It's beyond believing or not believing. Byakuya is actually starting to scare me more than the actual mastermind. And what always interested me the most were the cold case police investigation reports. Reading through those reports has always been a hobby of mine ever since I was little. It's excellent mental exercise. I solved more than a few of those cases just by reviewing the reports. And among those reports, one of my recent favourites, the Genocide Jack case. As he talked, Byakuya grabbed a specific file from the shelf.
that's right.
This is the complete case file. Every single report surrounding Genocide Jack cases have been compiled in here. Because there are so many, allow me to quickly summarise the main points. To begin, there are two notable characteristics in every Genocide Jack murder. First characteristic, that every crime scene the word bloodlust is written in the victim's own blood. And second is that when the victims are murdered, their bodies are suspended in a certain way. Bloodlust is written in blood and the victim's body is suspended. Exactly the same as what happened to Chihiro. Save your surprise, the best part is yet to come. The second characteristic, where the victims are suspended, the only ones... She's back. The only ones who knew about that particular fact were members of the police and the higher-ups. By all accounts, nobody in the media ever found out. Huh? In other words, no one on the news knew. News? No one online, nobody knew about that aspect of each crime. Only key officials and the killer himself knew about this act of mounting the victim. Now, if you recall Chihiro's corpse, her body was most certainly mounted in this fashion. So how could the killer have known about suspending the victim?
That's right.
That's the key question. But in fact, the answer is quite simple.
In other words,
The culprit isn't a copycat killer, it's the real Genocide Jack. Grr.
in other words,
That right there is the evidence that Genocide Jack has hidden himself among the rest of us. That Genocide Jack really is such a brutal, fiendish killer, really is walking around among us.
interesting.
Things are really starting to get interesting, aren't they? I never imagined a killer with such a reputation would become part of our little game. Now, don't you think it would be good for you to take a look at what we've seen already? You might just manage to ferret out a clue or two.
Such ignorance.
I'll get down... If you get down on your knees and beg, I might even show you myself. Be a dick about it. Byakuya, about Genocide Jack case file. You let me see
That's
it?
fine.
Well, you didn't beg, but I guess it's okay this time. Feel free to look at it in here, but you can't take it with you. Byakuya handed me the file. I flipped through it with tense, nervous fingers. Suddenly, my hand stopped. I reached a page where the photos from the scene of each crime had all been collected. All got scissors. The names of Genocide Jack's victims ran on several pages. Victim, Ken Harada, office worker. Murder took place in the parking lot of the victim's apartment complex. Victim suffered multiple stab wounds across the body, believed to have been inflicted with the same scissors that were later used to attach the victim to the wall. Ken Harada, 32. Tetsuhiro Honda, 17. Koji Gaku, 23. Kano Issei, 14. Takeshi Yoshida, 30. Komatsuna Taro, Takafumi Gono, Uchida Nasa, Takehishi. There's lots. There was no end to it. But one thing became perfectly clear as I read. All of the killer's countless victims were killed and suspended in the exact same way. And at the scene of every murder, the word bloodlust was left in the victim's own blood. I'll take a look at the next page and you'll find another interesting tidbit. The next page? Profiling results. All of the crimes took place either on weekdays at night or during holidays, either day or night. The most common time for the killings to take place was on holidays in the afternoon. Based on these facts, I suggested that the suspect may be a student. Evidence suggested that the suspect lingered at the scene, but when they did leave, they were in a panic. Because an eyewitness has never come forward, it's unlikely that any external reason for this. This confused behaviour suggests that the suspect may potentially suffer from dissociative identity disorder. So everything's pointing towards Toko. But that's too
in
easy.
other words,
The key point here is the culprit may well have split personality. Split personality, like the kind of thing you see on TV. So I'm part of another totally unbelievable story. But this one's way more unbelievable than anything else up till now. Or maybe it really isn't. I don't know, I feel like my mind has gone numb. I know. I think this is all him. I think this is Byakuya. I think it's more likely that he's done something to her.
Let's go.
Alright, we should get going soon. Huh? Where are we going? Anywhere but here. We finished our business here, haven't we? Wait, Byakuya. Wait. As usual, Byakuya turned and left without another word. I hurried out of the library to catch up. Well, this is where we part ways. I have some things I need to take care of before the class trial. Just all of a sudden like that.
Time to play with
Come on, enough of your annoying misapprehensions. Did you really think we'd be together the whole time? Take responsibility for yourself and do something useful. Move the investigation forward on your own.
Goodbye.
Or goodbye. Just like that, he was gone. Just as quickly as he asked me to join him, he cut me off. In the end, I felt like I was just some plaything getting tossed around. At the same time, I had uncovered some really important clues to thank him. So Jack is the only one that killed Chihiro. And that murderous fiend is one of us. But who is it? I have to find out. No matter what it takes. To do that, this summer I have to go to investigate one more time. I have to go back to the crime scene, the girls' locker room. Check the boys' locker room too. And the others might come up with some info I might find useful while I'm at it. I need to find everything out that I can. Right, I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning, talk to everyone, then go back to the murder. The murder! Okay, let's start from the very beginning and work our way around. Is there anyone in these rooms? No one's in here, so... This is Toko's room. I should probably leave her alone for now. There's a hatch out on the floor. Rattle, rattle. Doors won't budge. It must be locked. Classroom, the dump, in other words. With the gate in the way, I can't really get inside. Anyway, it's not related to the case. There's nobody who left who could do what Leon did. Okay, so is this room basically just not used anymore? Okay. Fish tank. There's a bunch of little fish swimming around inside. I can't imagine how this could have anything to do with the case. We're checking it just in case there's any extra info. It's a girl's bathroom. Obviously I can't go in. Celeste, what are you doing in here? This warehouse is amazing. It has absolutely everything one might need to live a full life. From food to clothes to towels, there's an endless supply to choose from. I see that, but have you found anything related to the case? I knew you were going to ask me that. Before talking about the warehouse itself might misdirect you, but I see it was pointless. And did you find something? Very well, I will tell you, and only you. Last night I saw her here. Chihiro was in the warehouse. What, really? This was right before night time.
What are you doing out this late?
Oh, I was just...
Are you planning to go exercise, perhaps?
What? How did you know?
Because I can see a blue track jacket sticking out of that duffel bag you're carrying.
Blue track jacket.
Oh, you're right. Thanks.
Where's that bag?
Well, I'd better get going. I'm kind of in a hurry.
Stuffed the jacket into her bag in a hurry. It was almost like she was trying to hide it. Just like that, she was
Yes,
gone.
indeed.
I assumed she was merely stocking up to go exercise in the morning, but it would appear she ignored the nighttime rule and headed directly to the girls' locker room. If she hadn't broken our rule, none of this would have ever happened. You get what you deserve, I suppose. So apparently, she went to the girls' locker room late at night in order to exercise without anyone knowing. The strange thing is, there's no trace of the track jacket or duffel bag Les said she saw Chihiro carrying. Do you mean the killer would have gotten rid of it somehow? This account has been added to the truth place. Anything else to say?
Actually,
Last night I saw him. But remember, she's a fucking liar. Oh yes, I'm gonna check them all. I imagine the vending machine has anything to do with the case. I thought the clothes might have been washed. And those showed a weird swimming buddy pal up, didn't they? Okay, not in the sauna. Okay, only one more room in this area. Well, two. Oh, Hina, how's Toko doing? Same as before, she won't come out. She just keeps mumbling about something about Genocide Jack. Hey, Heisen. Welcome, buddy. You're the first person here. Been a bit of a quiet one today. But I just left her here. Please tell me the sound's working. You just left her? My head was all swimming. I was getting pretty hungry. But don't worry. I'm going to head back as soon as I'm done eating. Toko's not exactly pleasant, but I'm still worried about her. Speaking of which, what are you eating? Donut, of course. Of course. There's two things I'm sure God created: outer space and donuts. Really? I bet Chihiro would have liked to eat more donuts. Maybe that was her one big regret. I should have tried spending more time with her. Come to think of it, who did spend time with her? Well, she was a little bit strange. Didn't really hang out with any other girls much. It was like she was trying to keep her distance from us. Actually, Sakura said something similar. She said that even though you and her invited Chihiro to exercise with you, she always refused.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's true. And it wasn't just us either. It was like she stayed away from all the girls. She just shy? I don't know, she talks to the boys all the time. Maybe Chihiro isn't a girl. Maybe Chihiro is a boy. Huh? I'm sure we will at some point. I'm sure we will at some point, don't you worry. Maybe Chihiro is a boy. And that's why she didn't want to exercise with the girls. Yeah, maybe Chihiro is a boy, so therefore the one that's the ebook that's broken, I was right. The ebook that's broken isn't Leon's. It's Chihiro's. Chihiro's a boy. Isn't it kind of weird to be shy around your own sex but totally fine with the opposite sex? Oh wait, maybe she was used to guys spoiling her. The law says you can't judge a book by its cover, right? The law says. I think so. I've never really heard her say that kind of thing. Been added. Okay, so Monokuma said he was going to tell everyone secrets the next day. So Chihiro might be a boy. I still think I should possibly start watching Kai at some point, just so I've got characters that I like. I mean, I like that TN guy, he was quite cool. But I like fast characters anyway, but I still don't know any of the combos. It was more just mixing up my moves. It's weird, dude. You got into fucking... You get into stuff that you don't expect. You got into fucking Dark Souls at some point. Now you're getting into fighting games, which couldn't be further from what you're normally into. It's fair play, though. It's cool that you're trying new things. The funny thing is, the cinematicness of the moves actually is something that comes from Street Fighter as well. Street Fighter 4 was the first ones to really do that. But then Blaze Blue and Arc System Works just took that and just times it by like 100 for how cinematic their moves are. Street Fighter kind of saved it for special moves. I really don't want to go in. I really don't want to see this place ever again. Nothing in here anymore? I don't see anything in here that could be related to the case. Okay. The most fun you can have in a fighting game isn't necessarily like winning a match. What's the most fun about fighting game to me, and I think both me and Resident agreed about this before when we were talking about it to each other, is when you play with the same person over and over. It's not about who's better. It's the best is actually when you both hit the same plateau, how good you are. That's when the fights are genuinely exciting because you're both as good as each other. And it can go either way, and that's when it's really, really exciting because you start being able to read that person rather than that character. And that is a really cool feeling. I've not had that feeling for like over 10 years, possibly 15 years. Maybe we should have confessed our embarrassing secrets after all. Damn it, I'm sorry, Chihiro. It's all because I wasn't strong enough. Starting to get a picture.
Huh? Oh, hey, Makoto.
Well, that's why you grow. You grow. The more you play with people, like the more you play with Resident and myself, the closer you get to that. You'll see what I mean, because I mean, when you were playing yesterday, every time you got used to my characters, that's learning the matchup. You're learning which characters were good against my characters, and the more you learn, the closer you get to that point. Then you notice everyone else's, like, you'll notice people's tactics. Like me, if I get frustrated, one of my things is, if I get frustrated and I can't get past your defenses, I'll start changing my moves as rapidly as I can, just to try and catch you off guard. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I will know what I'm doing, it just means I will change them fast enough to try and keep you confused. So that's something that I do when I get frustrated, and sometimes that leads to a great win. Like the last fight we had last night, you were fucking me up for 2/3 of my health, and I was like, right, fuck it, I've got to, every time I attack you, I've got to change the move I'm doing, so it's hard for the other person to read. But that's because you were learning my tactics, whether on a conscious or subconscious level. Oh hey Makoto, what's up? I haven't been up to anything myself, that's for sure. Definitely I haven't looked inside the mailbox. Okay.
Huh? Oh.
And he's acting suspicious. There's mailbox here, and inside, Junko, Leon, and Sayaka's e-handbooks. Looks like the handbook of the dead students I've brought here to the mailbox somehow. The rule says loaning. Yeah, I've read over this a few times. Okay. I just wish you didn't have all that fucking bullshit to get to the game. You just... That's one thing that Street Fighter definitely does better, is you click on your friend and you can fight them. You can like choose your favourite character in Street Fighter as well, but you didn't have to jump through so many hoops. Not gonna let me in there either. Let's go bathroom. So I think Chihiro is a boy. I think Chihiro is a boy, and they only go to exercise when everyone else is asleep because they're a boy. They hide their laundry because they're a boy. They don't have any girly stuff in there. And someone new. So, we've got why Chihiro was there. We've got possibly why he or she was there. But then we've got the murderer. And the murderer's pointing towards it being Toko. But I think it's more likely Byakuya rather than Toko. I think Toko is being manipulated by Byakuya. She writes books that she feels full of meaning. Oh, maybe there's some kind of clue here. Guess not. Okay. She was madly in love with Byakuya, so he could easily mess with her head. Okay. According to this letter, Hope's Peak Academy had stopped functioning as a school. And what's more, it didn't even happen recently. Apparently it closed down over a year ago. Mastermind probably took over the abandoned school in order to start this killing game, which explains why there aren't any other students here, because it's not a real school. Then there's these serious issues that forced the school to close down in the first place. Yeah, because they probably schooled the ultimate killer, or the ultimate mastermind. Is there any connection between that and what's happening to us now? The mastermind's motive. If we can figure out why they would want us to imprison us all here, will that be enough to get us out of here? Or there's a thick layer of dust on the top of the desk. Maybe there's some kind of clue here. Guess not. No, wrong button. Okay, the archive. It's all the same as what I checked before, but I will check them once more just to make sure. Box is empty. Extension cord. Report of the presidential assassination. Secret Council. I know it was around here somewhere. Huh, it's gone. Someone take it out of the archive. The only one who would do something like that. I can't think of anyone but Byakuya. Be that again. At the beginning. Genocide Jack's case file is gone. That and Toko was trying to sneak in here. That's almost all the rooms checked. Okay, let's check the last area. Or the last couple areas. Ding ding ding! Hifumi has discovered evidence revealing the identity of the
I
culprits.
feel as if.
Another stat increase for me. Evidence? What do you find? I cannot reveal that just yet, but I guarantee that what I found will steal the killer's breath from his lungs. Are you sure about that? Stain on the floor. There's a strange stain on the carpet. What is it? What? Boys' locker room carpet has been added to the truth bullets of your handbook. Oh, this poster. It's a popular boy band called Tornado. Somehow it doesn't seem to quite fit in the boys' locker room. Oh. The naked lady picture is meant to be here. Why would they swap them? Way back out again. Oh, that's the switch. Okay. Oh, there's the locker. Let's take a look at the locker. Ooh. Maybe there's some kind of clue in the lockers? Guess not. Okay, didn't find anything in there. But that's in the wrong room. He was killed in the boy's room because he's a boy. Or because he's a boy. And moved across to the girls. Chihira's presence here was especially weak, her body and her soul.
No forgiveness.
To target such a helpless being is unforgivable. What a wretched beast could do such a thing? I cannot forgive this. Dude had a real complex about being weak. You heard Chihiro talk about it, right? All I need to do is get stronger. Yeah, I do remember she said that more than once. Chihiro did, which I guess explains the trip down here. But did she really need to get stronger that badly? You already mentioned it, but she was a girl after all. Most girls aren't that strong. I don't know, man. I haven't really thought about that stuff. Chihiro's complex. Where did it come from? Oh, because blood landed on it. Blood landed on that poster, and the poster had to be taken over here. I don't even add the ultimate thing though. Hey, Kyoko, have you made any progress on your investigation?
Indeed.
Generally speaking,
However,
but I have to get going. I have something unrelated to take care of, okay? Something besides the investigation? What is it?
well,
Nothing you need to worry about, just concentrate on the murder. But
so then,
before I go, let me give you one piece of advice. You should examine Chihiro's body one more time, thoroughly. Also, a handbook is missing. You might want to determine its whereabouts. That's it. I'll be praying for your success. With that, Kyoko turned and left the girls' locker room. I guess I'll take another look at the body then. And Chihiro's handbook is missing. Definitely worth worrying about. Chihiro's e-handbook has been added to the truth bullet section of your handbook. The bloodstain on the carpet could only have been caused by Chihiro's murder. There's a big bloodstain on the dumbbell on the floor. The Monokuma file said that the fatal injury was caused by a blow to the head. This dumbbell has to be the murder weapon. The word bloodlust is written on the wall in blood. Just like in all those other Genocide Jack cases. At every crime scene the word bloodlust is written in the victim's own blood. Kyoko said I should examine the body one more time. I know she said thoroughly, but I do have my limits. I better give this a shot anyway. Let's see. Here's hands are bound with what looks like some kind of rope. The rope was used to prop her up in a kind of crucifix position. Huh? This rope is a plug. Oh. Wait, so this isn't rope at all. The more I think about it, the more that's not the only thing that concerns me. Chihiro's fatal injury was a blow to the head. I mean, someone struck her in the head in order. I think it's Byakuya. In the head in order to kill her. That's right. There's the issue of her being suspended and the fatal blow. At first I didn't see any reason to think too much about either of them. Seeing them again after looking through the Genocide Jack file, something is not quite right. Yeah, they had scissors and all. Enjoy super with Beerus? Or is super something else? Or do you mean his super moves? What does all this mean? The status of the dead body has been added to the truth bullet section of your handbook. Well, the one thing most likely to tie all these mysteries together is the true nature of the rope that was used to suspend Chihiro. To figure out that, there's a certain place I need to revisit and look over again. Plus, it might help to look at the Genocide Jack case file one more time. We all know that's not there. That's in the wrong fucking place. The bloodstained poster, the blood is most notable every part, but big-breasted swimsuit model is pretty noticeable too. Girls' locker room doesn't seem like the kind of place you'd find something like this. Not from here. But wait, that reminds me, the poster in the other locker room is... That's right, there's definitely something strange about this. Boys' locker room, there's a poster of a popular boy band. The girls' locker room, there's a poster of a big-breasted swimsuit model. But the posters have been switched? Yes. But if they were, why? What reason would anyone have? Hero's a boy. Maybe you should talk to someone who knows a little more about the locker room. More about the locker room. 2 locker room posters have been added to the Truth Bullet section. Know more about the locker room. Sakura? You spend a lot of time in exercising in the girls' locker room, right, Sakura?
Of course.
I've used it nearly every day since it opened up. Sometimes Hina and I use it together. Okay then, let me ask you something. You think the posters in the boys' and girls' locker rooms could have been switched?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I can't really say. I never really paid attention to those posters. I see.
However,
But there is something that's been bothering me about the locker room. You see, I like to drink a little protein coffee every time I finish exercising. We have protein coffee. In the warehouse, it's not the highest quality, but yeah, that's the stain. The stain is in the other room. Stain's on the floor. The coffee. They're going to say that they dropped it. It's not the highest quality, but I don't have a lot of other options. I mix protein powder with coffee and down a glass of it after exercising. Anyway, the other day I spilled some on the carpet in the girls' locker room, and it left a stain. Stain? But I don't see any stain on the carpet now.
Of course.
Exactly, I noticed it earlier. The stain has disappeared. I only assumed someone came along and cleaned it. No, it's in the other room. But still, isn't it unusually clean, as if there was never a stain there to begin with? Disappearing stain has been added to the truth section. Okay, so we need to go back to the library. Okay. There it goes, Dragon Ball Z Kai, then Dragon Ball Super in the timeline. So, Beirut isn't in Dragon Ball Kai then? That's hella confusing. So Super isn't part of Dragon Ball Z then? Dragon Ball Super's its own thing. Or do people just colloquially call them all Dragon Ball Z? Wooden box is empty. The extension cord was in there before. Just like Jack's on. That missing a cord? The desk lamp. Yaki grabbed that one thing from over here and put it over there. It is dark over there. The wooden box is empty. The extension cord was in there before. Oh, it's just I've never ever heard of anyone calling it Dragon Ball Super, so I'm guessing people just call it Dragon Ball Z anyway, just because it's easier to say. Big layer. Oh, maybe some kind of blue. I guess not. Yeah. I'm gonna fucking click on the lamp. Huh? The lamp won't turn on. Oh, I see. It's not plugged in. The lamp's cord isn't long enough to reach the outlet from here. The last time I saw it, it was definitely on. It was definitely right there. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so that's plugged into the lamp, but not plugged in. That's right, Byakuya was using an extension cord. No extension cord here now. I wonder if... Library desk lamp has been added to the truth bullet section of your handbook. Bong, bing, bong. Oh, it's about the trial about to start.
I'm getting tired of waiting. Shall we just plunge right in? It's the moment you've all been waiting for! The class trial! You remember where to meet, right? Please go through the red door on the first floor of the school. See you soon!
Begin the class trial, or about to begin. Red door is right through here. Oh, people are gonna miss the trial. Excuse me. I don't normally have a coffee this late, but maybe I should have one. So everyone is ready to... What? Am I blind? Am I missing someone?
Yo.
Yeah, Toko's not here. And Toko is... You really don't remember? Kidding, I'm just kidding. How could I forget that little nut job? He's a crucial part of the class trial this time.
What are you gonna do?
Okie dokie, I'll go ahead and drag her out here, kicking and screaming. Just one moment, please. Just like that, a few minutes later, he reappeared, dragging Toko behind him. I told him I don't want to, but he forced me. I can't believe you would drag the girl around. Terrible, you're terrible. Phew. So now everyone's here, right? Okay then, hustle onto the elevator and let's get this show on the road. See you guys down there.
Let's go.
If we get going, it's time to find out who killed Chihiro. Who killed her? Chihiro Fujisaki. She was so gentle, so calm and meek. Nobody had any problems with her. Someone made a choice to kill a girl like that. He's the opposite to Byakuya. I don't think he was a girl. He was meek and quiet and just wanted to do his own thing. And that the murderer is one of us. Someone standing right here. Unless they've completely red herringed me and...
Shall we go?
It's quite likely. Shall we begin? Right. I'm going to update my stream info to say the trial. Or trial number 2. 1 second. Okay. Updated. Oh. The second trial begins. We have no choice, right? We have to do this.
It's true.
Yes. I gave a small nod in reply. With one last deep breath, I walked towards the elevator on shaky legs. With each step forward, I could feel my heart starting to race faster and faster. As soon as everyone was on, the elevator began to descend. I couldn't get a handle on my emotions. Stop speculating. The only thing that I'm confused about is no one's used any super skill. Yeah. The steel box sank with heavy clunking sounds deeper and deeper into the ground. As we went deeper, the uneasiness in my heart grew bigger and bigger. The elevator was unaffected, however, and continued to descend without hesitation. Until finally, it came to a sudden stop. What do you think? I redecorated. Isn't it so fresh? Isn't it so exciting? Don't waste our time with stupid questions. Let's get this over with. Good, good. You're rip-roaring to go. Gotta say, I don't hate it. Not at all.
Well,
Okay then, let's get this show on the road. Everyone, please find your assigned seats. And so the curtain opened once again. Deadly judgment, a deadly deception, a deadly betrayal. Deadly riddle, a deadly defense, a deadly faith. Deadly class trial. Sounds very deadly. Want to save? Yes, I do. Okay, let's take a look through. Let's take a look through the evidence. Okay, Monokuma File 2. The victim Chihiro Fujisaki. Time of death is estimated to be around 2 AM. The body was discovered in the girls' locker room on the second floor of the school. The cause of death was a blow to the head with a blunt object. She was killed instantly. Sakura's account. Although Chihiro wanted to get stronger, she declined several invitations from Sakura and Aoi, and may have used the locker room late at night to avoid them. Despite this, Chihiro had stated that she desired help with her efforts. She may have been meeting someone in the locker room the night she was murdered. Locker room dumbbell. The dumbbell found on the floor of the girls' locker room had a significant amount of blood on it. On those accounts, Chihiro told anyone willing to listen that she wanted to get stronger. Some assume that due to her inferiority complex about being weak, she admired strength more than anything else. Card reader. To unlock the locker room, you need to swipe your e-handbook over the card reader. You need a male student's handbook for the boys' locker, and a female student for the girls. It is not possible for the two people to enter at the same time. Additionally, lending someone your handbook is a violation of school regulations. The handbook of each student that has died is placed in the mailbox main hall. Broken e-handbook. One of the handbooks found in the main hall had been broken, which is apparently a rare occurrence. Junko and Sayaki's handbooks both seem to still work, so assume that the broken handbook is Leon's. Not. However, Monokuma claims it's very unlikely that Leon's handbook would be broken. Genocide Jack case file. Suspected Genocide Jack victims include Ken Harada. Among countless others, they were killed in the same way and mounted to a nearby wall. The word bloodlust was found at the scene of each crime written in blood. Profiling indicates the killer is likely a student suffering from split personality. Always counts. Chihiro seems to have consciously kept her distance from the other girls at the school, even from the beginning. Meanwhile, it had been noticed that she got along remarkably well with her male classmates. Boys' locker room. The carpet in the boys' locker room was found with a blackish stain on it. 2 locker room posters. Blood was found on the poster in the girls' locker room. The poster featured a big-breasted supermodel popular among young boys. Meanwhile, the poster in the boys' locker room was for a boy band popular with teenage girls. Chihiro's e-handbook. Chihiro's handbook was not found on her corpse and has apparently gone missing. Status of the dead body. Chihiro's body had been suspended and her hands had been bound by some kind of rope. Her fatal injury was a blow to the head. There wasn't rope, it was a cord. Fearing stain. Sakura mentioned that she was responsible for the coffee stain in the girls' locker room floor. However, the stain had been inexplicably scrubbed away. It's in the other room. Library desk lamp. It'd be pretty strong to move all that stuff. Byakuya was known to use this lamp often. However, the extension cord had gone missing at some point, and the lamp's cord couldn't quite reach the outlet. West's account. On the night of the murder, right before nighttime, Chihiro was spotted leaving the warehouse. It seems she was stuffing some blue exercise clothes into a duffel bag. Presumably, she was on her way to exercise, but the clothes were not found at the crime scene. Celeste had not told anyone other than Makoto about this encounter. Sorry, someone's thought my stream had ended, but it's still going. Okay, let's get back to it. Okay. So, I know what my theory is. But last time, my theory wasn't... Last time, I was about 30% correct on what had happened. I didn't have the right murderer in mind, though. So I'll happily admit that I didn't know who the murderer was, but I got the circumstances down pretty well. Welcome back, Heisen. Set skills. I still don't properly understand this bit, but I think each student's focus gauge decreases more slowly during concentration fever time. Effective during the non-stop debate, the Hangman's Gambit and the bullet time battle cost 5 SP. Okay. What's SP? Oh, SP's my equip points. Increases damage to the opponent when the statement is destroyed. Effective during the bullet time battle. Oh. Right, so the more skills I've got from befriending buddies. I mean, I tried befriending a new person, and then they died. I actually befriended Chihiro just before he or she got murdered. Which was just shit on my part. Okay, here we go.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial.
What have you done?
So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Okay, then. So, first off, let's talk about the murder weapon!
First, we have to make clear that what was used to deliver the fatal blow. Make your arguments.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been? I bet it was an iron pipe. Interesting.
Oh.
That certainly would make for a powerful weapon.
I pressed the wrong button? The weapon had to be at the scene of the crime. I think I just pressed the wrong button.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could...
What fucking button is it?
I bet it was an iron pipe. Interesting. That certainly would make for a powerful weapon.
Do I speed this up? Oh, it's circle, right.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a... What kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
I think you have some proof that contradicts what he said. I need to think about it one more time. Oh, contradiction.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head.
According to the Monokuma file, what kind of blunt instrument? I bet it was an iron pipe. No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong. A voice is saying, objection.
Can we agree that the object that dealt the fatal blow was the dumbbell, found at the scene of the crime? It was covered in blood, and there was nothing else at the scene that could have caused that kind of injury.
And the wound on the victim's head is consistent with the shape of the dumbbell. As far as I'm concerned, there's no mistake and no room for doubt on this one.
You looked at her head wound?
Yay! That's so creepy!
If you don't mind, I will proceed from here. Let's move on to discussion of the culprit. Although, I believe the criminal behind this heinous act is already quite clear.
What? For real?
He's going to blame Toko.
Chihiro's killer is the fiendish serial killer, Genocide Jack.
Genocide Jack, the fiendish serial killer. Did he really kill Chihiro? A new element has been added to the non-stop debates. Would you like to hear more? Debate lines of white noise will appear to disrupt your reactions. Your truth bullets will disappear if they hit these lines, so think of them as obstacles in your debate. But there's a way to keep these white noise from getting in your way. Press the X button to attach the silencer, which you can use to shoot down the white noise. However, if you shoot the actual remark with your silencer instead of the white noise, the time limit will decrease, so take care and aim when you have your silencer out. But if your action difficulty is set to gentle, white noise won't appear at all. In which case, you can forget about the silencer and just focus on the situation in front of you. Well then, good luck and have fun. Okay, weird.
The culprit is Genocide Jack. I'm sure of it. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
No, it's wrong.
No, it's wrong.
I might know one reason he could be involved.
What?
I found this file while I was looking around the archive in the library. I guess it's some kind of confidential file the police put together about the Genocide Jack case.
What? That's kind of weird as shit, isn't it? What was something like that doing in the library?
The why of it is probably more trouble than it's worth. So let's forget about that for now. More importantly, it outlines all the specifics of every Genocide Jack case in exceeding detail. According to the file, there appear to be two defining characteristics in every Genocide Jack case. The first is that a bloody message is found written at the scene of every murder.
Oh, that's right. Boob lust.
No. It's actually bloodlust.
But more important is the other characteristic, and it's something that has never been made public.
Never made public? What the hell is it?
Why don't you tell them, Makoto?
The other characteristic of every Genocide Jack case, which the world at large doesn't know, if I'm not mistaken, it has to do with the positioning of the body.
I got it!
I got it!
Apparently, in every Genocide Jack case, the killer suspends the body in a certain way. Other than the killer, the only people who know about this are the higher-ups in the police department.
However, Chihiro was most definitely suspended in the same way. So, how did the culprit know about this when only high-level police officials were aware of it? There's only one logical answer I can think of. It's because the culprit in this case is the real Genocide Jack.
No fucking way!
No fucking way!
You're saying Genocide Jack is one of us?
Yes. In fact, it's Toko.
It's not, it's you, and it's not the real Genocide Jack.
What?
You're a filthy copycat.
Genocide Jack's true identity is Toko Fukawa.
I don't think it is.
What? Hey, okay, wait, hold on.
It's too easy.
Toko has, like, bloodophobia or whatever, remember? What kind of serial killer is afraid of blood?
Is Toko Genocide Jack? The answer is yes and no.
Because of the split personality.
Another riddle. Man, why is this gotta be so complicated?
It's a riddle for sure, but I feel like I understand it. What it means for Genocide Jack to be Toko, but also not Toko. The answer is that she's not just one person, but multiple people, right? Hey Beta, welcome back, buddy. Hangman's Gambit. I remember what this one is. Don't understand this mode? If you shoot the wrong letters during the Hangman's Gambit, you'll take damage. If your influence gauge reaches 0, you will fail the case. This determines what special actions you... Yeah, but what am I doing with the letters? Schizo. How do I know what colour to go for? Oh, I turned them red. Okay, now I finally get it. Schizo. Another killer, yes. I think it's Byakuya. I think... Oh, it's not showing.
Genocide Jack has a split personality?
Huh?
I think I read that somewhere in the file, too. They thought that the suspect might have... What did they call it? Dissociative identity disorder.
Oh, okay. But still, to go and say that about Miss Fukawa is...
perfectly acceptable. Toko's strange behavior after seeing the body is proof enough that she has a split personality.
Yeah, but Toko was madly in love with this guy. So it's highly possible that she told him she had split personality. Behavior did change.
You're
So I believe it,
talking
though.
about how she started acting totally different than usual, right?
If she believed she was someone else, why would she swap the posters around?
That's right. Think back. She fainted when she saw Chihiro's corpse, and then, when she woke up...
I'm fine, She was like a ghoul when she woke up. Whoa, is that a dead body? Hey, you dead? She must have hit her head real hard when she fainted. The world has a front and a back, a top, inning, and a bottom. Top, inning? The sea of truth, a web of lies. This is quite concerning. I mean, she sounds completely different.
She was acting funny, that's for sure. That melancholy tone of hers completely disappeared.
Don't go assigning adjectives to my tone without permission.
Not to mention, once she regained consciousness and saw Chihiro's body again, she was utterly calm. In other words, within her is one personality that can't handle blood, and one that obviously can.
So when Toko trapped herself in her room, it's because she was scared of Genocide Jack?
Won't let Genocide Jack have control. I'll drive out the killer, drive out the murderous fiend.
The reason she locked herself in her room wasn't to keep other people from getting in. It was to keep her other personality from getting out.
What?
But we also saw her trying to sneak into the archive.
Toko was afraid. Afraid of the murderous fiend inside of her. Of killing even more people.
How? Yeah. How can you know all this?
I do believe you misunderstood her. What she's trying to say isn't, how can you know all this? No. What she wants to know is, how could you tell them?
Huh?
Last night, just before Monokuma gave his motive speech, Toko and I had a strange conversation. She told me a most interesting story. She said a murderous fiend lived within her, and she was afraid it could appear and attack at any time. And that trepidation is what's caused her to have such a bleak attitude. Isn't that right, Toko?
This is all a lie. Right, Toko?
You said you wouldn't tell anyone.
What?
You promised! I can't believe you lied!
You have only yourself to blame. You came to me with your tragic little story. I didn't ask you to. This is the real world, not some romantic fantasy fairy tale. Besides, you broke your promise first. You said that as long as you were here, no matter what, you wouldn't let Genocide Jack kill anyone. But in spite of that promise...
I'm sorry I couldn't keep our promise. But don't worry, never again. I won't let Genocide Jack have control ever again.
You said if I kept my promise, you would go out with me. That's the only reason I promised.
How many times do I have to tell you? I never said that. But you weren't able to do it. You just couldn't resist that rush you got from killing, could you?
I tried. I swear I tried to control it.
But your efforts were useless. What a disappointment.
It wasn't her, because she was killed in the boys. She was killed in the boys' locker room. And Toko can't go into the boys' locker room. So, not her.
I hate you.
Well, the opening act is nearly finished. All that's left is to hear from the person in question directly.
He needs to convince everyone, because everyone's going to die if they get it wrong, and he goes free.
The person you don't mean.
Coco's body suddenly lunged backwards. Huge thud echoed across the courtroom, but in the next second, we're going to talk to Genocide Jack.
Well, hello there! Is it me you were hoping to see? What the heck? So you figured it out, huh? Well, whatever. What are you gonna do? I'm the ultimate murderous fiend, Genocide Jack! Or better yet, let's go with Genocide Jill!
What the fuck is this?
Toko, what happened to you?
Not Toko, that's a loser name. And what happened is a textbook split personality. So what if one of them happens to be a serial killer? You should turn a blind eye to one's faults.
So intense.
Like they say, sound in murderous mind, sound in murderous body.
This one is so different from the one we've come to know.
Yes, well, the world is composed of a front and a back, you know. Just like how every inning has a top and a bottom, or how in the depths of every truth lives a little lie. Behind every dark and gloomy soul lives another that shines as bright as the sun!
This is the murderous fiend, Genocide Jack. This is beyond insane.
Miss Jack, Jill, can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Some of us think you might be the mastermind behind our entire situation. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll tell you. I am the mastermind of all masterminds! Just kidding!
Then it's not true?
Of course it's not true! How dare you try to link me to that creepazoid? And another thing, the police and government and society in the outside world are totally powerless! I mean, they just let this idiotic, bloodthirsty maniac go buck wild all over town!
Sure, I'm a bloodthirsty maniac, but life is pain, right? To live is to hurt other people. It's a necessary evil if you want to survive. The act of living itself causes pain for everyone. Just kidding again!
This should be enough to convince you. This murderous fiend is responsible for Chihiro's death. There's clearly a motive, so there should be no doubt.
A motive?
Remember what Monokuma told us? If someone didn't murder and graduate within 24 hours, an embarrassing memory or secret would be revealed. Well, let's assume that Toko's secret was about Genocide Jack. If a secret like that came to light, Toko's life would have undoubtedly been forever ruined. So she had a very clear motive to never have that side of herself exposed.
Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. But sorry, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm not the culprit.
But I cannot imagine anyone other than you could murder someone in such a bizarre fashion.
Maybe so, but nevertheless, it's the truth.
Do you really expect any of us to believe you?
Yeah. I could never believe a word you say, you monster!
Maybe she's totally right about it, but Something's still bothering me. What she said, I need to go get some more details, but I need to get some more details about all of this. Places of the dead body.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone.
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things. Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking.
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely.
No, that's wrong. Are the methods of murder really exactly the same? I'm not so sure about that. I think there's a slight difference between the Genocide Jack cases and this one.
Scissors and the cord.
Huh? How's it any different?
Uh-oh, you don't know? Well then, human garbage, let me tell you! I murder with passion and conviction. I consider myself
I do like the fact that
and I have a very
the mass
particular way
murderer
of
isn't
doing
the
things.
murderer.
Imagine you go to a fancy Italian restaurant. They're very picky about the noodles, the sauce, everything. But what happened to Chihiro? It'd be like if that same Italian restaurant started using ragu or Chef Boyardee. This is no creation of mine.
Let me rephrase that in a way that maybe makes more sense. There are two clear differences between the Genocide Jack cases and this one.
One clear difference between the murders. In the photos from the other Genocide Jack cases, look at the neck and the stomach. There you'll see the clear difference. Victim's fatal injury.
For one, the cause of death is different. In the Genocide Jack murders, all the victims were killed the same way. According to the case file, they were all apparently killed with a pair of scissors. But Chihiro died from a blow to the head, right?
Ah, yes. That is
Blunt
remarkably
force trauma.
different from the other murders.
Wouldn't it be strange for someone who kills the same way without fail to suddenly change their method? And there's more. One more conflicting detail.
That's right. In my recipe of murder, if the bloody message is the tortellini, then the arrangement of the body would be the pesto sauce.
Could you please stop comparing killing people to cooking? So, are you saying the other difference has to do with how the body was arranged?
That's right, the second difference is related to how she was suspended. In the photos of the other Genocide Jack cases, all the other victims were stabbed through their hands. Here you'll see a clear difference. Was used to suspend her.
I got it! Do you remember what the killer used to suspend her? They used some kind of rope to hang her up by her wrists.
What is your point?
Well, in all the previous Genocide Jack cases, something else was used to suspend them. Specifically, pairs of razor-sharp scissors.
And guess what? I used my own specially designed scissors for the murders and the arrangement.
I mean, it's going to be quite funny if she survives this, and then we get to hang out with Genocide Jack for like the rest of the game.
Like I said, I'm a professional, so naturally I'm very picky about the tools I use. And you know what else? Big Mac said there's two differences, but he's wrong.
Big Mac? Are you referring to me?
Listen up, Big Mac. There's actually one more difference.
Huh?
My word, you really didn't notice? Take a look at who the victims were in each Genocide Jack case.
They're all guys.
There's a pattern there, just waiting to be discovered.
Yeah, but Chihiro is a guy as well.
Pattern?
Figure that out, and it'll be plain as death why I couldn't have possibly killed that little lolly girl.
Now, Byakuya is going to say, but it is a guy. He's going to try and turn the tables. There was a pattern surrounding the Genocide Jack victims, and Chihiro didn't fit it. If you look at the names of every victim, what you'll notice is, I think I figured it out, why she couldn't have killed Chihiro. Chihiro was a girl. Chihiro's not a girl.
Is it because Chihiro was a girl?
Bingo! Bullseye! Right on the money!
Wait for it, Byakuya.
What are you talking about?
In all the Genocide Jack cases, all the victims had something in common.
Kenharada, Tetsuro Honda, Shoji Gaku, Kano Issei, Takeshi Yoshida. There's no end to it.
They were all guys?
That's right! The people I kill with such passion and conviction are all adorable little men! I can't believe I said it! I'm so embarrassed!
The hell is wrong with you?
I can't help it! I'm just a full-throttle boy-on-boy fangirl, and the mopey side of me just hates it. But now I'm on the fast track to becoming a full-fledged fan madam!
So since Chihiro was a girl and not an adorable little man, you wouldn't kill her?
Would an Italian chef suddenly start making ramen just because they're both noodles? Don't be stupid. I have too much passion and conviction to cross that line. That's the absolute reality of a one and only.
We get it. You've clearly explained your hobby and your philosophy. But that's not all there is to it. It's a different matter entirely, when you're forced to kill in order to survive.
Quiet, lowly cur!
Lowly? Cur?
I would never kill for a reason as petty as mere survival. And if by some fluke I did kill to survive, why would I bother with the message and arrangement? It'd make me the obvious suspect!
That does make some amount of sense.
Plus, whatever reason I have for killing, I would never leave out my prized scissors. Who would go out of their way to use a big, stupid, heavy dumbbell?
Maybe you used the dumbbell because you couldn't find any scissors in the school?
Any scissors? I don't just use any scissors. I only use my own set of high-class envy of the entire world scissors!
Okay, whatever. There still aren't any in the school.
Are you sure about that?
Schoolroom?
Da-da-da-da!
Oh. Taking a screenshot because that's pretty cool. Da 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 da.
She's fully equipped! That's right! So I can go anywhere, anytime! Why would I resort to dumbbells or rope when I have my trusty scissors by my side? Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong! You can't, can you? Gutter dogs, all of you! Not to mention, I have no clue how to tie a good knot! The rope's totally out of the question anyway!
Oh, she's hilarious.
I have no idea what's going on anymore. Could such a heinous villain really be innocent?
But the body really was suspended, right? And nobody but the police knew about that.
Yeah. That's why we figured it had to be the real deal, and not some copycat killer or whatever.
Actually, hold on. There is one person, Byakuya. One person who could have copied the Genocide Jack cases. Select someone.
Here's my answer. Byakuya, it's possible you could have found out, isn't it? You'd have no problem gaining access to classified government documents or internal police records. Plus, you'd already looked through the Genocide Jack file before this all happened, hadn't you?
Are you saying Mr. Togami did it?
Then the reason he pushed the theory of Genocide Jack being the killer so hard was because he wanted to pin the crime on her.
So, he rearranged the scene to disguise it and make it look like I put my stamp on it. The adorable glasses man was behind it all. Oh, I'm on fire!
Well, Byakuya, what's your response?
I see. So now the suspicion falls on me. Then I must ask, when would you say I began acting suspicious? Surely you must have an answer.
Looking back and thinking about it now, The way you were acting right before we discovered the body was a little strange.
And the locker rooms are suspicious, very suspicious indeed, wouldn't you agree? Huh, suspicious? Seems nobody searched the locker rooms. Let's start with the girls' locker room.
You wanted to go to the girls' locker room right away, right? But since you're a guy...
I should have naturally thought of the boys' locker room first. Is that what you want to say? The victim was Chihiro, a girl. Hence why I said we should check the girls' locker room.
Nothing strange about that, I'd say.
On the contrary, there's something very strange.
Okay then, what's so strange about it? Go ahead, share with the rest of the class.
There was a clear contradiction in what Byakuya just said. I need to make it clear to everyone. A new element has been added, non-stop debates. Would you like to hear more? Okay, what's now? Next we're going to add something called the true flashback. If you aim at a weak spot and hold down the triangle button, then you'll memorize that weak spot. Memorized phrase can only be shot once as a single truth bullet. If you shoot or change the truth bullet, it will disappear from your truth cylinder. However, you can use this flashback feature as many times as you want. If you don't seem to have the answer to a lie or contradiction, load the truth bullets. It might be wise to memorize a different weak spot and use that to make your case. When's the best time to do the flashback? Well, you just have to use your keen wits, won't you? In this case, though, I will say that if you don't use the flashback, you won't be refuting anything. Well then, good luck and have fun. I don't understand.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
You absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless distractions. What's so strange about that?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
In Byakuya's comment about Chihiro being a girl, I realise there's a clear contradiction there. It's not Sonic Generations, because I've got Sonic Generations on PC as well. I'm just testing that one because I've got it on PS3, and that one throws sound at me pretty quick, because you get the Sega logo. It loads quite fast, so I'm just using that one. I'm using Generations to test the PS3. I'm getting there, because I decided to get the PS3 working through HDMI, I've made things a little bit more difficult for myself. But in the end, once it's figured out, it'll be easier. Is what I'm hoping. But I can't wait to do Sonic Generations, fucking love that game. Because it doesn't make sense, how could he have known before we'd even found it? Okay, I need to make that contradiction clear.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
You absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless distractions. What's so strange about that?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird, but he was acting...
If you're presented with the opportunity to...
That's a natural reaction!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl.
What do you think? There's something... a mistake lurking what I said? Somewhere.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body.
Come on, Mako, don't scare me like that. It makes me think that something weird is going on. Oh, did I...
So, you said Byakuya was acting... But he was acting...
If you're presented with the opportunity...
That's a natural reaction!
The victim was Chihiro, who... So of course I would
suggest we check... There was no time... What's so strange? I wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya was acting...
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out,
That's a natural reaction.
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl.
Shoot!
There's no other place for me to shoot. I don't understand what this...
So,
This game does a really, really bad job of explaining... explaining systems.
you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
if you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
That's a natural.
The victim was Chihiro.
so of course I was. There was no time. What's so strange? You wish you'd taken me with you.
I don't understand what this green bullet is
So,
about.
you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the
No,
body.
that's wrong as well. I don't get it. Well, what's this green bullet actually do?
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird...
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out,
That's a natural.
The victim was Chihiro, so of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless distractions. What's so strange about that?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
I don't get it. I don't get what I'm supposed to do with this green bullet. Doesn't make sense how we could have known before we even found out.
So,
Yeah, sorry.
you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird...
If you're presented with the opportunity,
That's a natural reaction.
The victim was Chihiro.
No, that's wrong.
Right, so I've got to pick two options? That's weird.
I'll tell you what's so strange about that. Because up until we actually discovered the body, we couldn't have known who the victim was. So your claim that you went to the girls' locker room first because Chihiro was the victim doesn't hold up.
I see. That's a good answer, I must admit. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. But your reasoning is still too weak.
Huh?
What's wrong? Is that it? Surely you've got more than that. Go ahead.
What's with Byakuya's attitude? It's like he doesn't even care. I've got him cornered and he's acting like it has nothing to do with him. What's the matter? You're not finished already, are you? There must be more to it.
There is.
There is, I think.
There is more to it. Think about it. We just talked about the differences between this case and past Genocide Jack incidents. The proof you're looking for is hidden in there.
Oh? Proof that I'm the culprit, you mean?
The difference between this case and the other Genocide Jack murders. The evidence that proves Byakuya is responsible is hidden in there. What could it be? Library desk lamp.
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope. Was it not?
That's right! It absolutely was!
then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else
Must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of...
That's right!
Then there must be
Okay, so I've got to... I think the whole green thing is I've got to pick one... I've got to pick a statement.
The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope.
That's right! It absolutely was!
Then there must be something very fishy.
Hey,
Change the
Byakuya,
body.
Where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
Oh, wrong button. Fuck's
Obviously,
sake.
somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference between the... You want me to explain? When I want to kill, I use my... And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was some kind of...
It's the same button to shoot the bullets. That's the problem.
There must be something very...
Hey, Byakuya. I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously,
for
somebody else
fuck's
must
sake.
have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain? When I want to kill, I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was some kind of...
That's right.
Then there must be something...
Hey, Byakuya. I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
Oh,
Obviously,
for fuck's sake,
somebody else
Luke.
must have had it
Why do they
hidden
have to use
away
the
somewhere.
same button?
What? The difference? You want me to explain? When I want to kill,
I know exactly what I want to do, but I keep on...
But Chihiro was some kind of...
That's right.
Then there must be something...
Hey, Byakuya. Wait, I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference? You want me to
Got to
explain?
dodge those
When I
fucking
want to kill,
purple
I use those same
words.
scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of...
That's right.
Then there must be something...
Hey, Byakuya. I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
Wrong?
Shoot.
Oh, fails. Is it going to help me reload, or? It would appear that the one with the most votes is Makoto. However, Makoto is not the black one. Too bad. Looks like the real killer gets to graduate.
Is this...
I just want to give it another shot.
I refuse to give up yet.
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was some kind of...
That's right.
Then there must be something...
Hey, Byakuya. I'd never seen that. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Luke. This stupid...
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special... And I use those same...
But Chihiro was some kind of...
That's right.
Then there must be something...
Hey, Byakuya. Wait, I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
I don't get it. I don't understand what this green thing's about.
Shoot.
What? The difference between the cases?
I know what the difference is. The cord's too short.
I use my very own... And I use those same...
But Chihiro was some kind of...
That's right. It absolutely...
Then there must be something...
Hey, Byakuya. I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference? You want me to explain? When I want to kill, and I use those same...
But Chihiro was some kind of...
That's right. It absolutely...
Then there must be something...
Hey, Byakuya. Where'd you get it? I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
I don't understand.
Between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors.
I honestly don't understand what I'm meant to do here. I know the answer, but I can't put it on the screen. What's the fucking green bullet all about? Right, I'm gonna have to look it up because I don't understand. Badly explained. Don't worry, I'm not gonna cheat. Danganronpa green bullet. Accept. What is it?
Shoot.
I didn't find the answer to us. Does anyone understand what the fuck this green bullet's all about? Because I don't understand it. Controls. Silencer. Fast forward. If you target a weak spot, then hold down the triangle button. You can use that weak spot as a temporary truth bullet later. These flashback bullets will... What does that mean? Use it later. What, later in... And, like, the white noise is purple.
The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope. Was it not?
That's right! It absolutely was!
Then there must be something very...
Hey, Byakuya, I've never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody
That's
else
a lie.
had it hidden away somewhere.
I've already shot that. He has seen that rope before because he told me he got it out of the box.
When I want to kill, I use those same...
But Chihiro was some kind of...
That's right! It absolutely...
Then there must be something...
Hey, Byakuya, wait. I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
No, that's wrong.
So that was right. So
Actually,
that green
I'm pretty sure
bullet
you
was
have
completely
seen it
useless.
before.
Okay. They gave me a new skill and I didn't use it.
Because you see, that rope, or should I say, that extension cord?
What? An extension cord?
Byakuya, you've used the extension cord in the library more than once, haven't you? And the same extension cord that was in the library all this time went missing after the murder. And there's no way someone who uses that extension cord as much as you do wouldn't discover that fact.
And Byakuya must be the one who took the extension cord. I can't imagine any other possibility.
That's really what you think? Then your conclusion is something like this? I killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, then hung her up and wrote that bloody note.
He's gonna say that he couldn't go into the girls' changing.
I intentionally made it look like Genocide Jack was behind it. Is that about right?
Doing it again. Totally calm, totally unconcerned. But if he's not even involved... Wait, not even involved?
What's wrong?
What's wrong? I asked you if you
think
think
that's
that's...
what happened.
Hell yes, that's what happened. So that's it, right? Byakuya's the killer.
I don't disagree with not disagreeing.
He kept calling this a game, right? So he'd be totally willing to do something like this to win.
Sorry, but could we hold on just a second? I think we need to talk about this a little more.
Do we really need to? We've already decided who did it.
I know, but still, there's something that's still bothering me.
Is that right? And what, pray tell, is still bothering you? I killed her in the girls' locker room, then disguised my crime.
You couldn't go into the girls' locker room.
Specifically, I dressed it up to make it look like it was the work of a homicidal psychopath. What about all that bothers you?
Wait, what was that now? Something's not right. Chihira's body was definitely found in the girls' locker room. But does that mean... I really accept what Byakuya said as the truth? No, I don't think so. There's definitely something off about what he said.
I got it! You say you killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, right? But are you sure about that? Isn't it possible that the murder took place somewhere else?
How disappointing. What kind of question is that? Even in the world of disappointments, this is a true letdown. She was found dead in the girls' locker room. There is absolutely no question about that.
Yeah, she was found dead there, but she wasn't killed
How
there.
could the scene of the crime have been anywhere else?
Well, I think it's entirely possible that she was killed somewhere else, then carried there later, along with the rest of the murder scene.
Like I've been saying for the last 2 hours, because she's a boy.
That was awfully specific. Please tell me you have a reason for saying all of that.
I believe I do.
Byakuya, did I just take you off guard? When the story suddenly moved the crime scene, Byakuya, who had been so confident up until now, maybe Byakuya never even realised that the actual scene of the crime could have been somewhere else.
Don't just move on without permission! What do you mean she was killed somewhere else?
Come on, Makoto. If there's any chance the murder took place somewhere else, let's see the proof.
He probably told Toko to move the body. Toko's in love with him, so he murders her, and he knows that he's a boy, kills her. Toko's madly in love with him, so he gets Toko to move the body, because Toko can go into the girls' changing room. Evidence shows that the murder took place somewhere else. There was something that was switched between the boys and the girls' locker room. But because there was blood on the poster had to be moved as well, because it's the boys' poster.
I got it! The proof that she was killed somewhere else is the poster that's hanging in each locker room.
Your proof is some posters?
The poster in the girls' locker room was a picture of a big-boobed supermodel. But don't you think that's kind of strange? Why would the girls' locker room have a poster like that?
I bet those massive jugs of hers were totally fake!
I like Genocide Jill, she's cool.
Meanwhile, the boys' locker room had a poster of the super popular boy band Tornado. Again, that doesn't really seem to belong in a boys'
Yeah,
locker
because the
room.
blood stain.
So you're saying that maybe the posters were switched?
Or sweet.
And there's one other thing I noticed about the locker rooms.
It's the coffee stain.
You know what I'm talking about, right, Sakura?
You're referring to my protein coffee, aren't you?
Protein coffee?
While I was in the girls' locker room earlier, I spilled some protein coffee on the carpet. But I noticed that after the murder, the stain had been totally scrubbed away.
No, it's not that the stain was scrubbed away. It was moved.
I got it!
Got it!
The stain on the girls' locker room carpet wasn't scrubbed away. In fact, I found it on the boys' locker room carpet.
That's definitely the stain from my protein coffee.
Then, does that mean that the carpets were switched too? But why would anyone do that?
To move the murder scene from one locker room to the other. It's certainly plausible, don't you think? What? In other words, in order to completely swap the scene of the crime, the bloodstained poster and carpet were moved along with the dead body. By doing this, the killer was able to change the entire room where the murder took place.
I can certainly follow your reasoning, but why would the culprit bother doing that?
Because they got blood on the poster.
Huh?
Why would they go through all that trouble of switching the scene of the crime? Actually, an even bigger question. If the murder did take place in the boys' locker room, then how did Chihiro get in the boys' locker room in the first place?
Because that's Chihiro's secret.
To get into the locker rooms, you have to swipe your e-handbook across the card reader device.
Yeah, and that's why that one's missing.
Should have only allowed her access to the girls' locker room. She had no way to get into the boys' locker room to begin with.
No, she did have a way, and I can tell you what it was.
I highly doubt that.
Shut up! I'm telling you, I know how she could have done it.
Is he right? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow? Yes.
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
Ah! I got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook! She was the ultimate programmer, after all. I'm sure that would have been no problem for her.
No, I don't think that's it. She
She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course. If she had that, she could get into the boys' locker room no problem.
Theoretically, if Chihiro was able to use Leon's handbook, getting into the boys' locker room. Yeah, but that doesn't explain why they were swapped around.
Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
I got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook. She was the ultimate programmer. I'm sure that would have been... Well, I don't... She used the thing that was in...
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course. No, that's wrong.
No, I don't think Chihiro used Leon's handbook.
Why not?
Because Leon's handbook was broken.
Oh. Well, then, yeah, I guess that'd be pretty impossible, huh?
I am struck silent by how quickly you gave up.
Plus, isn't there a regulation against using someone else's handbook?
Actually, the rule states that loaning your handbook is prohibited. It says nothing about borrowing one. In other
point
words,
that you kept
you
on
can
making,
borrow
mister.
a dead person's handbook all you want, and you'd be safe.
Yup, yup, yup! Hit the nail square on the noggin!
Of course, if it were broken, that wouldn't make any sense anyway.
So then, she must have hacked hers, like I said. She used her ultimate programmer skills and...
Oh. Hers has disappeared.
Psst! You can't fix an e-handbook. The instant you open one up, a security buzzer starts blaring.
So, if she didn't use Leon's handbook, and she didn't modify,
You didn't have to modify her own.
Maybe Mr. Naegi's initial assumption is just wrong?
It seems like there's no way she could have got into the boys' locker room. So I guess so.
Okay then, I vote for Byakuya.
Is that it then? Chihiro was killed in the girls' locker room and Byakuya is the one who did it, really? But still, I don't know what else I can do.
Hold on a second.
Hold on a second.
I agree with you, though. I think you're on the right track.
What the... You finally decide to open your mouth and that's what you've got to say? There's no way she could get in the boys' locker room, right? So...
Why are you so sure she couldn't get in? There's still one other way she could have gained access.
What?
What are you talking about? What other way is there?
Well, to explain that, why don't we take a little break from the trial? I'd like you all to come see something.
Wait,
Okay.
wait. Just what do you think you're doing?
Don't worry. This'll make the whole trial more exciting. I'm sure that thought must please you.
Huh? It'll make things more exciting? Well, all right then. I declare an official class trial recess.
For real?
Now then, what is it you want to show us? It better not be boring or I'll be very unhappy.
Oh, I have no doubt it'll meet your lofty expectations. So, shall we go?
So before I even knew it, what was happening, the class trial had been put on hold. We headed off with Kyoko in the lead. Where she took us was the laundry room? Oh no, back here.
The girls' locker room?
We've already searched this place top to
Yeah,
bottom.
but she said to check
What are you
her.
trying to pull, Missy?
I'd like you to examine the victim's body one more time.
You want to check it again?
Be sure to examine the entire body very carefully. Take your time.
Examine her carefully? Like using our hands?
No way!
It's probably best if I don't run my hands all over a girl's dead body. It's not that I'm freaked out or anything, it's just based on religious grounds, you know?
Very well. I'll do it.
But you're a girl. You shouldn't have to touch a dead body. Just let one of the boys do it.
No, it's okay. I think Chihiro would rather have a girl examine her. So just leave this to me.
Sakura.
What is this? Some kind of secret girl-on-girl action? Is that what you two are about?
That's not it at all. Stop screwing around.
Okay, what would you want the fact to be about? Kind of at, like, an important part of the game, but okay. What do you want the fact to be about?
Okay, here I go. I'm sorry, Chihiro. Please excuse the intrusion.
I don't really know what a crepe is. Is that like a pancake? A rolled up pancake, isn't it? Strawberry banana crepes actually make you psychic. If you were to eat one a day, every day, for 16 years, on the 17th year, you've got to stop eating them. You eat them for 16 years straight, then you wait to the 17th year to pass, you actually become psychic. But you only become psychic with people of the opposite gender. And you can only read their minds and their thoughts on specific days that, like every other day. So yeah, banana, but it also works that way. You've got to make them that direction as well. You can't make banana strawberry crepes, you've got to make strawberry banana crepes. Otherwise you can't become psychic. And that's where lots of people fail. So you've got to make them in that order as well. So you prepare the strawberries, you prepare the banana, you prepare the crepe. And then once you've made the crepe, you put the strawberry in it, then you put the banana. You've got to keep it in that order, otherwise it will fail and you won't be psychic. Yes, people will sometimes think I'm lying because they say, you know, you've got to wait 16 years for it to pay off. But it's true. It's a fact. Putting her hands together in a brief prayer, Sakura then began quietly examining her body.
Be sure to check her entire body, and I believe we will solve this particular mystery.
Secret dong! She's gonna have a secret dong.
Her entire body? I know you say that, but... What? This is... What is this?
What is it?
Not possible. It's not possible.
Sakura's eyes were staring wildly at Chihiro's lifeless form. Her massive frame trembled.
This girl is
what?
Is a boy.
Called it. I called it.
Ah, I see. So she was actually a he. Interesting. Thank you for confirming this fact. What?
You're joking, right?
I wouldn't joke about this.
Ben, it's really true?
Chihiro was a guy?
Oh, what? You guys didn't know? Heck, I knew that right off the bat.
Yeah, that's why she wouldn't go and exercise at the same time. She couldn't get into the girls' locker room.
He was totally a guy.
He was a cross-dresser? Oh, I'm really on fire! I wish I had killed him!
Fucking love Genocide Jill. She might be the new bestie.
So that's what Kyoko wanted to show everyone, huh? Interesting. Yes, that certainly does make things much more exciting. Now let's ride this wave of excitement back to the courtroom and get back to the trial. Ahem. I do apologize for keeping you waiting. Now then, let's resume the class trial.
Ultimate skill hasn't been used yet. That's the one thing I've not got. I'm going to show off a little bit. I've got this all right so far, but in the first murder, the Leon used his ultimate skill to do the murder. That is the one bit I have not figured out for this one. What ultimate skill was used?
We've all just learned of the shocking revelation that Chihiro was actually a boy. Let's pick up from there.
Yes, well, I don't know his reason for hiding it, but the fact is, Chihiro was not a girl, but a boy.
I think that Chihiro was actually a guy. Well, it never even crossed my mind.
And because the victim was male, he would have had no problem gaining access to the boys' locker room.
Assuming his handbook did, in fact, list his gender as male, then yes, that would be true.
And then he used Coco to take the body into the girl.
Of course his handbook said he was a boy. He dressed like a girl, but he was a boy through and through.
So then, there should be no issue with Makoto's initial assertion. The victim was killed in the boys' locker room, and was then later moved to the girls' locker room. And the killer could have easily used Sayaka or Junko's handbook to get into the girls' locker room.
So Chihiro really was killed in the boys' locker room?
I still don't understand the motive for moving the body, but yes, that does seem plausible.
Well, I must admit, I did find it rather odd. I knew he felt a little off. There was a certain incongruity to his female body.
This is the most titillating situation!
So now everything has been connected. All the mysteries have finally become clear.
Okay, well, connected or clear or whatever. We still think you're the killer, remember?
Very interesting. This has become very interesting indeed.
He's off in his own little world.
What about you, Makoto? After everything we've learned, do you still think Byakuya's the killer?
Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is the one that made Chihiro's death look like Genocide Jack did it. But
They mentioned that you can have an accomplice. Him and Coco.
I think he might not actually be the killer after all.
What? But aren't you the one who accused him in the first place?
He just seems to be too easygoing about all this. Like he's enjoying us solving the mystery. The way he's acting, it makes it seem like it doesn't have anything to do with him.
And you think that might be because it doesn't have anything to do with him?
Plus, the evidence he left behind was a little too... how can I put it? Overt. He consciously chose to use the extension cord, knowing it could connect him to the murder. At least, that's how I see it.
Yeah, but he wants you to... He wouldn't want you to get it wrong, because everyone will die.
And Byakuya, when you found out the murder took place in the boys' locker room, it seemed to rattle you. And then again, when you found out Chihiro was actually a guy, if you really were the killer, that stuff wouldn't have had any effect on you.
So that's your thinking, huh? Well, it bothers me that you don't have more concrete reasons, but it's fine. I guess I'll mark it as correct for the time being.
Mark it as correct?
He's right. I am not the culprit. I just happened to come across the corpse in the girls' locker room and decided to alter it.
Are you fucking with us right now?
No, I am not effing with you right now. I'm telling you the truth.
Well, I find it very hard to believe.
Go ahead. Find it very hard to believe. You're free to be executed along with the rest of us.
If you're really telling the truth, then why? Why do you do that to his body?
My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering the culprit is much more important, wouldn't you say? Now then, if it wasn't me, who was it?
Well, I don't think I can say for sure without talking about it a little more.
We're seriously gonna keep going? We're all good, aren't we? I thought it was clear Byakuya did it.
No, I'm with Makoto. If there's any doubt whatsoever, we need to explore every possibility, because if we're wrong, we all die here.
What other information do we have?
That's true. Very well then. I'm with you too.
Damn straight. Count me in. Do you not have a mind of your own? Of course I do. What am I, an ant or something?
Anyway, let's discuss this all as a group one more time. We still have time to make our decision.
That's very true.
Our lives are all on the line.
Excellent. Then shall we resume our game of hide and seek?
But if Byakuya didn't do it, Who's the real killer? Who murdered Chihiro? One thing we can be sure about, or that we know about the killer. The killer was able to gain access to the real murder scene, which means the real murder scene was guy.
I got it!
The crime scene was the boys' locker room. You would need a boys' handbook to get in. Since Leon's handbook is apparently broken, the killer would have had to use their own. In other words, it had to have been a guy. But that's still not enough. I need to find some more clues. Let's
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but did nobody get a look at the killer? I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
It's over. It's all over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer. And only the killer. And it's not like they're just gonna turn themselves in. Game over, man! Game over!
Game over, man! Game over!
No! Not game over!
As a matter of fact, there is an eyewitness regarding Chihiro. He has more information about that while it's Celeste.
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are what? Did nobody get a look at them? I'm sure if someone saw the killer,
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
it's over.
Oh, bollocks.
It's all over. You want to know who saw the killer? And it's not like they're just game over, man.
Yay! No! Not game over!
Isn't there a single clue? Well,
Did nobody get a look? I'm sure if someone saw the killer,
perhaps someone saw the victim at some point.
Yeah. All we need right now.
it's over. You want to know who saw the killer? And only the
No, it's wrong.
No, it's wrong! Celeste saw him in the storeroom.
I believe someone else did see the victim before he was murdered. What do you think, Celeste?
Now that you mention it, yes, I did see him.
Huh? Really?
Oh, but I suppose only Makoto knows about this. The rest of you had no idea, did you? That is why you're all making such ugly noises.
Whatever! Just hurry up and tell us!
It was last night, right before nighttime. I saw Chihiro in the dormitory warehouse. I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag. And then, I assume, he headed off to exercise.
A track jacket and a duffel bag? But we didn't find anything like that at the murder scene.
It seems likely that the culprit destroyed them to get rid of any evidence.
And that is when he said something that struck me as rather odd.
Well, I'd better get going. I'm kind of in a hurry.
Chihiro told me he was in a hurry. But why would he be in a hurry? Only if someone were waiting for him, I should think.
So, Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone, and then they were going to work out together?
But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of times, and he always declined.
Probably because he was afraid you'd find out the secret he was hiding, right?
Sorry about a helicopter.
Which means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting with very much. Enough so that he was willing to risk his secret being revealed.
Oh, what a marvelous friendship! The point is, whoever he met up with is the culprit, right? So we just gotta figure out who it was.
Why is he fucking...
But knowing what we know, I can't even guess.
No. You already have what you need to make the connection.
Huh?
You know who the killer is.
Seriously? Who is it? Who's the killer?
Think back to the track jacket and duffel bag the killer disposed of.
I don't remember anyone wearing a blue track jacket.
Focus on the details of these items, and it should become obvious who was waiting.
Are you sure about that? You really think think we can figure out who did it based on 2 pieces of evidence that we don't have?
What? You want to track down some fingerprints or something?
Even if we had the equipment for that, we wouldn't know how to use it.
As was noted, the evidence is already gone. There's nothing to get fingerprints from.
Maybe, but we can make certain inferences if we just take the time to talk it out.
Easy for you to say, but fine. Celeste, did you notice anything special about the bag or jacket?
The bag was just a normal duffel bag from the warehouse.
Okay.
All the bags in there are the same, so I can't imagine what would make that one special.
Well, if I remember right, there was a decent variety of tracksuits to choose from. Do you think there might be some connection between the culprit and Chihiro's jacket?
Perhaps. Let's explore that and talk a bit more about the jacket he took.
His track jacket really holds some clue about the serial killer? Somehow it's really hard to believe. All I know is that it's blue.
First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exit, so next we have to... Why did he choose the specific tracksuit?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black.
I don't even have a tracksuit. Cause exercising sucks.
I have a white tracksuit personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must know.
Would any of that really help us get any closer to figuring out who the culprit is?
No way.
Not a chance.
You heard him, right? What he just said without even realizing it?
She's right. What he just said that was really odd. How does he know something?
First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go, so next week, why did he choose the specific...
What do you mean?
I got it! It matched the one the culprit...
So, what? The killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black.
I don't even have a track. Cause exercising.
I have a white tracksuit personally. I got it from the warehouse, if you must know.
Did any of that really help us get in?
No way.
Got it from the warehouse.
First of all, we know where he was on his way, so next week, why did he choose?
What do you mean, the specific...
I got it! He picked that... It matched the one...
So, what? The killer was wearing the same... My tracksuit is black.
I don't even have... Cause exercising sucks.
I have a white tracksuit personally.
No? Okay. Wrong.
Shoot! First of all, we know he was on his way to go exercise, so next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit?
What do you mean,
I got it! He picked that tracksuit. It matched the one the...
So, what you're... The killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black.
Shoot! First of all, he was
I
on
thought
his
it might be
way
wearing a
to go
tracksuit
exercise.
because then it covers
So next
his
we
body
have
up.
to ask, why did he choose the specific
Like
tracksuit
maybe
that
he was
took?
going swimming?
What do you mean, the specific...
I got it! It matched the one that...
So, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black.
Fuck's sake.
I don't, cause exercise...
I have a white track. I
The
got
bullets, they're really
Any of
fucking
that
slow.
really help us.
No way. Not a chance.
First of all, he was on his way, so next week, why did he choose?
What do you mean, the specific track...
I got it! It matched the one that...
So, what you're... The killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him?
No, that's wrong!
Hold on a second, Mondo. What did you just say?
And he was sweating with the other guy. I can't remember what it was.
Huh? What'd I say?
When Celeste testified a few minutes ago, she said...
I'm stuffing a track jacket into the duffel bag and assume he headed off to exercise.
She never said anything about the jacket's color. So why did you say Chihiro's blue tracksuit?
What are you... You just...
Hey, Celeste, what color was Chihiro's tracksuit?
As a matter of fact, it was blue?
And before we began the trial, did you tell anyone that?
The only one I told about any of this was you.
Then, Mondo, how did you know what color Chihiro's tracksuit was?
Well, because I'm sure he saw the clothes at some point in the investigation.
No, that can't be it. The bag and clothes were surely disposed of by the time we began our
Then the only reason he could have known what color the tracksuit was is if he saw Cherry with it before he died. That's the only possibility.
Cherry?
Are you talking about Chihiro? So, how about it? Did you see the tracksuit or didn't you?
Just by chance. I just happened to see it last night. He walked past me, and he was carrying the tracksuit in his hands.
No, that can't be it either. According to Celeste's testimony,
She stuffed the jacket into her bag in a hurry. It was almost like she was trying to hide it. Just like that, she was gone.
when Celeste noticed it, Chihiro made a point of making sure the jacket was completely in the bag. If you just ran into him briefly, you couldn't possibly have seen what color the tracksuit was.
It would appear you've dug your own grave.
Perhaps. But you handed him the shovel, didn't you? That's why you said what you did. Focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with? What a bunch of nonsense.
Ah, now I understand. It was all one big bluff, wasn't it? Your true intention was to draw a slip of the tongue from the culprit. That's why you said you knew he did it. To put them on edge.
That's right. However, Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about him from the very...
But why? What made you so suspicious?
That's a good question. There was a certain turning point that tipped me off. Maybe you didn't notice it, Mondo, but you tend to refer to men and women differently. You only call guys dudes. For girls, it's chick. And after he was killed, you happened to refer to him as dude.
Yes, I remember that. That's one of the reasons why I thought he was different. I didn't link it though.
Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew something we didn't.
You notice such a...
Are you a witch? She's a witch! You're positively frightful!
No, I'm not the frightful one. Not nearly as frightful as someone capable of murdering a friend.
Mondo, was it really you? Did you really kill Chihiro?
I didn't kill anyone! You've been all over me, judging everything I say, putting words in my mouth. What gives you the right to treat me like a goddamn criminal?
Yeah! He would never do something like that! This is a false accusation!
It's true. My reasoning on that is pretty shaky.
That was fast.
Well, this does present us with a problem. It seems we are all out of leads.
My time has nearly come. That's what my little ghost friend is telling me.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Hifumi, weren't you telling me you found some evidence?
Really? What kind of evidence?
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it here calmly, it might not be all that relevant.
Jeez, does your confidence just get up and walk away? It's fine, man. Just tell us.
If you really insist, then, here it is.
What do you have there?
Oh, the lost.
It happens to be an e-handbook. I found it laying on the ground, so I scooped it up.
You found it on the ground, right? Then it must belong to...
I got it! We know Chihiro's handbook was missing from the scene of the crime, right?
For a fact.
For a fact indeed. I was totally sure I'd found it.
Then it must hold some clue about the culprit, right?
Well, that's what I was hoping. but it's busted. It won't even turn on.
I imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of any evidence after the murder.
That's odd. I didn't think the handbooks were quite so fragile.
You're right. They're not. They're totally waterproof and shock resistant. It would take an awful lot to break one.
And yet, this one does appear to be broken, as is Leon's, sitting useless in the main hall. For all your confidence,
Fucking
that is
helicopter's
a
back.
remarkably high failure rate.
Do you think there might be some kind of mystery in there somewhere? How precisely did the handbooks get broken?
By hacking it? Maybe they were able to physically hack it and destroy it that way? Yeah. Oh, impossible to modify it. I meant hack. Oh yeah, I guess cross hacking off the list then. There was a weak point? I can't remember.
I got it! You already told us before that the handbook has one weak point, didn't you?
You remember that? Sure, maybe I let that slip, but I never told anyone what the weak point actually was.
But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and two of them broke in quick succession,
Then we can only assume that someone's figured out its weakness. You know what the weakness is, right, Monokuma? So, what is it?
You're asking me?
I think it's a necessary piece of information if you want this to be a fair trial.
But if I tell you, and someone else decides to copy it, that would be very not good.
Just tell us already! Why would we want to break our own handbooks?
Oh well, I have a weakness for pushy demands. But you're sure you won't follow their example? Then allow me to make a special announcement. The weak point of my cutting-edge e-handbook is... when it's exposed to high temperatures for too long, it will suffer a meltdown and totally break!
I flippin' knew it!
You knew it?
Yeah, because I found the handbook laying on the floor of the sauna.
The temperature in the sauna can reach over 200 degrees. Strange how you don't get burnt, huh? It's because as your sweat evaporates, it creates a cooling layer of air around your skin. If the hot air of the sauna were somehow pushed directly onto your skin, you'd definitely get fried. That layer of air would get blown away. That's why you may feel a burning when you move around. So when you're in a sauna, make sure to keep nice and still.
Thank you for the advice.
Interesting. I learned one new fact today.
That is a mere trifling speck of knowledge.
Anyway, if you found the victim's handbook in the sauna, then the killer must have been purposely trying to raise its temperature in order to break it.
And that's why they were in there.
meaning the culprit somehow knew its weakness.
But how'd they find out? Monokuma said he didn't tell anyone, right?
Indeed. Quite the mystery.
What if they found out by accident?
What do you mean by accident?
What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna, not knowing its weakness, and it broke? They'd realize it was broken, of course, and it wouldn't be hard to figure out why. And once they had Chihiro's handbook, they knew they had an easy way to dispose of it.
I won't say it's not possible, but who would have done something like that? I don't know of anyone who took their handbook into the sauna.
I might know someone who did.
Hey, how's it going? I breach. I will call you I breach, shall I? Thank you for watching the channel. I really appreciate it. Welcome. I hope you're having a nice day. How are you doing?
Whoa, seriously?
Okay. Well, I have used some overlays, but sometimes they get too busy.
I think the one who may have taken their handbook into the sauna was...
Thank you very much, Breach. I think the one who may have taken their handbook into the sauna was, well, we know it must have been him because he was wearing his clothes. He might have brought their handbook into the sauna. It had to be one who wore all their clothes into the sauna. It was... He wore all his clothes, didn't he? I can't remember. Thank you very much, Breach. I'll take a peek. Yeah, because it was those two. They got all pally, didn't they? Let me just cycle. Yeah.
Here's my answer. Mondo, your handbook got broken in the sauna, didn't it?
What? Why? Why do you keep accusing him?
Well, he was wearing nothing in there.
Mondo and Taka had an endurance contest in the sauna not too long ago, remember? And for the contest, Mondo just so happened to keep his school uniform on. But little did he realize, he'd also left his handbook in one of his uniform pockets. And when it was all over, Mondo discovered that taking your handbook into the sauna could easily destroy it.
No, wait, hold on. You've got it all wrong. He would never kill. I don't accept this. Show me the proof. The actual solid proof.
I mean, I don't want to believe it either, but I found something that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
Not what I was trying to pick.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Come on, his handbook broke during the sauna showdown. I can just prove that. And that will show that the handbook Mondo has actually be.
Let's test Makoto's assertion.
Change the bullets.
If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
How did I change that?
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
See? Look!
I just missed it.
Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook, then that proves that...
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
It just bounces off it.
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test if what he says you broke your own. In other words, if then that's
It confuses me a little bit, this bit.
Handbook works just fine.
See?
Take.
Makoto was wrong. Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test if what he says is correct. You broke your own handbook.
In other words, if then that proves that...
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
Why is it bouncing off? I don't get it.
Look! Makoto was wrong after all!
Oh, that's it.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct,
Then you broke your own. In other words, if then that proves...
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
See?
Bollocks. Hey, Yuchi. How's it going, buddy?
Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test if what he says you broke your own. In other words, if not, then that proves that what...
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
Shoot!
let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, If Mondo's hand, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my
Yeah.
goddamn handbook works just
Oh,
fine.
that was the wrong one.
Shoot.
I'm gonna fuck it up.
Let's test if what he said you broke your own. In other words,
I wasn't wanting to do it on that one.
Well, my goddamn handbook works. See? Look, Makoto was wrong after all. Shoot.
Failed, because I don't understand how these words fit.
I refuse to give up yet.
Let's give it another go. Yeah, they've got lots of crazy hairstyles.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
in other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves.
Well, my goddamn handbook. See? Look, Makoto was wrong after all. Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly.
Sake. I don't understand why it's what the point in the moving
Let's
stuff
test
is. It
if
just
what
seems to
he
waste
said
time.
You broke your own. In other words, if then that proves.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine. See? Look, Makoto was wrong after all.
I fucked it up.
Shoot.
Let's test Makoto's assertion.
If what he says you broke your own. In other words, if Mondo, then that proves that.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine. See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
I honestly don't know.
If then that proves.
I don't know how any of these words can connect to what he's saying.
After all, Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test Makoto's assertion.
If what he says you broke your own. In other words, if then that proves.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just... See? Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Oh, this isn't fun.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine! See? Look! Makoto
Yeah, I get
was
it.
Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Let's test
If what he says
Fuck
is
it, I'm just
correct,
gonna use
you
the same
broke
one on
your
each
own
one.
handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook, then that proves that what.
Well, my
This is
goddamn
gonna-
handbook works just fine! See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
I like this game, but I don't like this mini game.
You broke your own.
Just let me shoot the ones I think it is. Don't have me sliding across the fucking screen.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just
Yeah, I get it.
fine! See? Makoto was wrong after all! Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's.
Yeah, get on with it.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine! Shoot!
Let's test Makoto's assertion.
If what he says is correct, you broke your own. In other words, if then that proves.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine! Shoot!
I'm just cheating now.
Let's test Makoto's assertion.
If what he says you broke your own. In other words, if then that.
I'm gonna
proves.
fail
Well,
again.
my goddamn handbook works just fine!
Finally.
What's wrong?
Mondo, the handbook you have right now, is it really yours?
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
The broken handbook that was in the main hall, isn't that one actually yours?
What the heck are you talking about?
What I mean is, I think Mondo swapped his handbook out for one that actually works. I think he took Leon's handbook and replaced it with his own.
Hey, Foxy. How are you?
After all, Monokuma said himself that Leon's handbook never should have broken.
That's right! The punishment it suffered wasn't
Oh.
nearly enough to destroy
Sorry to hear that. I've got notifications on. But then again, Heisen said the other day that he didn't get notifications either. I'll double check them. Chihiro.
So then, the broken handbook in the main hall is actually Mondo's. Which would mean that the handbook Mondo has right now is actually Leon's. Yes?
But doesn't that violate the school regulation that says loaning out your handbook is prohibited?
Yes. Or Computer Boy.
Well, here's how I look at it. There is a rule about loaning your handbook to another student, but it's kind of a gray area, I admit. But no worries. If anything,
Yeah, boy.
it just makes things more interesting. As such, I decree that exchanging handbooks with a corpse is not a violation of the rules.
Well, Mondo, if I'm wrong about this, you're welcome to say so. I'm happy to admit I made a mistake, but...
Son of a bitch. What's wrong, bro? Come on, tell him he's wrong. You are wrong. You have to be wrong. Everything you just said is wrong. You made it all up.
Okay, then why don't we look back on this case one more time, from the beginning? That way, everything will become clear, and we'll all see if I was right or wrong.
Climax inference. Again. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot about this bit. That's brutal. Oh, that's brutal. Okay, so she picks the clothes. Let's saw Chihiro in the warehouse with a duffel bag and she couldn't go to the girls. Oh, that one's wrong. Something everyone has that you need to get into the locker room. Which locker room did Chihiro go into? Oh, did I put the wrong one there? The weapon the serial killer used was... I like this bit. This bit's really cool. As the murder took place, some blood splattered onto the poster. Wasn't there two poster pictures though? Yeah, I think I'm going to watch the anime after playing this one. They killed her, rolled up the thing. Disguise the truth, the killer switched around the carpet as well as something else. Poster. Which locker room did the killer... Which locker room did the killer move to? I'm confusing myself now. Went into the girls, yeah. Ah, fair enough. Killer took something from the other locker room and switched it at the scene of the crime. Was poster? No spoilers. No spoilers. Wait for me to fail first. He came in. What was it that Byakuya brought to the murder scene? Could have only have been... wires. Did I not have used that already? Arrived on the scene. What did he use to disguise what had happened? Disguise what happened. Did he use to disguise what happened? I don't. What did he use that to pose? Did that as a disguise? Where did the killer go after they were done? To the swimming pool? Okay, but I'm still haven't put down. Is there meant to be ones left over? If there's one's meant to be left over, then I will put that there. I think. I mean, they're both the same picture. Fuck it, here we go.
You! First, let's take a look back to before the incident. Last night, Celeste saw Chihiro in the warehouse, correct? At the time, she was apparently stuffing something into a duffel bag. That something was a blue tracksuit. You can confirm this, right, Celeste? With bag in hand, Chihiro headed out, even though it was officially nighttime. She made her way to the locker room, specifically the boys' locker room. But how could the victim, who was apparently a girl, access the boys' locker room? Simple, because she was really a he. Which is why he was able to use his own e-handbook to gain entrance to the boys' locker room. Once inside, he met with someone there. And the person he met was the one who killed him.
Or did I just fail? Fuck's sake. I bet I had that right. But it was the wrong fucking dumbbell. Am I gonna have to rearrange that whole thing? Right, okay. bad on two things. It's bad on that and that. But then that's next to the wall poster. Now I'm confused. It could be either of those two. They both had blood on them. That just seems a bit too obvious that it had both. Killer took something from the other locker room and switched it to the scene of the crime. It could be either of those. What annoys me is both of those were moved from the other room, or does it not matter? That's who he brought from the murder scene. Or was it the Byakuya brought to the murder scene? Done. Still cool. I think I've got the dumbbell and the poster the wrong way around. The handbook got thrown into the sauna room. Broke. Had it there? That just looks like one being dropped. Looked like it overheated.
Here's exactly what happened. She made it.
Okay.
Once inside, he met with someone there. And the person he met was the one who killed him. It seems likely that the killer grabbed the nearby dumbbell, approached the unsuspecting Chihiro, and attacked him. And that's where the bloodstains on the poster and carpeting in the boys' locker room came
It's
from.
always the British guy. You can do /S. Fine. Or did you say you can't do that on here?
It was likely in the heat of the moment. The body was arranged, but the murder itself felt unplanned. Which is why the killer hurried to try and hide the act. First, pulling up the bloodstained carpet. Then, removing the bloody poster. And finally carrying the corpse into the girls' locker room.
Go quickly check something quickly, because it's getting very, very late.
A girl's handbook was necessary to get into the locker room, of course, but this alone doesn't prove that the killer was necessarily a girl. After all, Sayaka and Junko's handbooks have been placed in the main hall. Using one of those, a boy could get into the girls' locker room without much problem. And that's exactly how the killer did it. With the carpet and the poster they brought with them, they got to work. They
I love the
changed layout
ghoulishness of
the boys
this.
and girls' locker room in what you might call a crime scene switch. That could have been the end of things, but no. Byakuya discovered the body and decided to intervene in the situation, making things even more complicated. So, after stumbling on the crime scene, he went and grabbed the extension cord from the library, and then he got
This is the only bit I don't get. Why would he want to make it more complicated? That just raises his chances of dying.
He used the cord to string up Chihiro's lifeless body. Then, using the victim's own blood, he left a grisly message there at the scene of the crime. He wanted to create the illusion that Genocide Jack was responsible for the slaughter. And around the same time that Byakuya was putting together this facade, the killer, having already disposed of Chihiro's bag and other belongings, arrived at the sauna. There, they planned to destroy the last piece of evidence, Chihiro's handbook.
Yeah, that'd be well
Just
annoying.
as the killer expected, the steamy sauna was enough to ruin the electronic gadget. Somehow, the killer knew that the handbook couldn't stand up to the heat of the sauna. And the reason they knew that is because the sauna had already wrecked their own handbook. And that's how it all played out. Isn't that right, Mondo Arata?
Well, I was wrong again about the murderer. Hoorah.
Wait! No! This can't be right! Where's your evidence? Yeah! Where's your evidence? You need evidence! You need proof! Without any proof, you can't pin any of this on him!
Evidence that Mondo is the killer that already revealed itself earlier in the trial. If I can somehow show where Mondo's handbook is right now, once I do, everything will become clear. A new element has been added to the time bullet battles. Talk a little bit about Fever Time and Nigger Time. Sounds very close to me using a racial slur there. During bullet time, if you press the R1 button, Fever Time will activate and the tempo will be forced to its max. At this point, even if you push the buttons at random, you won't miss. Okay? You can push... Okay, the opponent can activate Naga time during the bullet time battle. Your tempo marker will disappear, making it quite tough to hit the buttons. If you were to activate Fever Time at this point, no, never mind, I'm sure nothing would happen. I don't know what we're worried about. Unsurprisingly, if your action difficulty is set to gentle, your opponent won't use it. Well then, good luck and have fun. That's the secret he kept.
Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! False! I refuse to vote! Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! False! You're corrupt! I refuse to vote!
I don't understand. How do I
False!
stop him from doing that?
Show me some evidence! I won't listen! I refuse to vote! Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! Show me some evidence!
should prove it.
44464.
If my thinking so far is right, Mondo must have replaced his broken handbook with Leon. In which case, we can just check each of our handbooks right now. Once we do that, we'll...
We don't gotta do that.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I did it. I killed him.
It had nothing to do with him being ultimate fucking biker gang. Me? Okay, I thought I did worse than that.
Bro, what are you saying?
I got no choice, man. After hearing all that, I gotta just... give up. Go ahead, Monokuma. Get it over with. Ask for the goddamn verdict.
Roger that!
Wait! Hold on!
No waiting! No holding on! Time for the moment we've all been waiting for! Grab your lever and give it a yank! Who will you elect as the Blackened this time around?
Bro.
Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
What's it gonna be? Uh-oh.
What?
Simon, looks like you got it right again. Yes, it is the Blackened that killed Chihiro Fujisaka was... Mondo Wada 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 Wada. In case you're wondering, the vote was not unanimous. Kiyotaka chose the wrong answer. Getting very close to the danger zone, Mr. Ishimuro. You need to be more careful. I refuse to believe it. There's no way he could kill someone.
What is
Why are you apologizing? Why? 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 Why did you do it?
Now then.
It looks like Mondo's taken a vow of silence, so allow me to explain on his behalf. The story of the murder this time, the sad story of two men. But for anyone who doesn't really want to hear it, you can hit the circle button and fast forward the text. Anyway, there was once a young boy. His name was Chihiro Fujisaka. Okie dokie. He had an extreme inferiority complex regarding his own lack of strength. You're so weak, even though you're a boy. He'd heard things like that as long as he could remember, and he couldn't overcome his weakness. Hey, Artificial. How are you doing? Yeah, a little bit, buddy, but it's okay. There'll be more deaths. Don't worry. On the contrary, he tried to hide and buried himself further and further into that weakness. To take on the fragile form of a petite young girl. He had chosen that way as his way out. Now nobody will be able to say anything about even though you're a boy. And no matter how tightly he wrapped himself up in that shell, the inferiority complex had already taken root deep inside of him and not so easily weeded out. How's your day going, Catherine? As it turned out, the shell was completely empty. The complex didn't disappear, instead it only grew stronger and stronger. And weak.
Weak, 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 weak.
Once the killing game had begun here at the school, he had no choice but to accept this fact. I'm very happy to hear that. After all, the world is survival of the fittest. If you're not strong, you don't survive. And then the lovely and hateful Monokuma announced the revealing of the embarrassing secrets. Which of course included Chihiro's embarrassing secret, which I was more than willing to divulge. I didn't guess the killer, but I guessed Chihiro was a boy. Even though he dresses like a girl, Chihiro is actually a boy.
Hey,
And that was something Chihiro couldn't let anyone find out, no matter the cost. So it's like, I didn't mind that. It fit perfectly well. If that was revealed, it would be the end. The hardened shell would crack, the armor would fall away. Welcome back, Foxy. Without a doubt, those around him would torture him more than ever before. I thought the killer was Byakuya. So I was wrong about the killer. I had the setup correct, but I didn't have... I got about 50% of it correct. Maybe 55% of it I had correct. But I didn't factor in the sauna, which now looking back was obvious. Well, that was something to do with it. Everyone figured being thrust into such a dilemma must have sent him spiraling into despair.
What?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, don't really want to talk about it right now.
But...
I also don't want to leave things the way they are, so maybe we can talk about it later. After I try my best to become strong, then I can tell everyone. Annoyingly, he used the threat of discovery to motivate himself to become stronger.
That's right. I want to change.
I'm going to get stronger and accept who I am. Strong enough so then when someone says, even though you're a boy, I'll be okay. I'll get better. With that thought at the front of his mind, he resolved to take immediate action. And so, that day he made the commitment to begin exercising. He was prepared to retrain his mind and body. But sadly, that would be the first and only chance he would get at it.
Hey,
When he decided to start exercising, he thought it would be good to ask for someone's help. But he wanted to tell that person his secret first, and then ask them to help him from there. That person he went to?
Yeah, that's right.
It was me. Yep, it was. The biker gang fella had been painfully clear about how important his manly promises were. So Chihiro probably figured that even if he confided in Mondo, his honor would make him keep the secret. That's a good idea. Perhaps Mr. Macho Mondo was the very symbol of strong man Chihiro had always aspired to. Maybe talking to Mondo about it will help give me some courage. So he went and asked Mondo to help him become strong. That was his aspiration. He thought that only with Mondo's support would he ever be able to come close to that.
Correct.
So then, that must be why Mondo did what he did. Keep the promise he had made Chihiro. Huh? Did what he did? You mean that's why Mondo carried Chihiro from the boys' locker room into the girls' locker room?
Indeed.
Oh, to keep the promise. That's exactly what I mean. Was that to cover up what he had done?
Certainly.
That could have been part of it, but I don't think that was the main reason. The real purpose was to keep the promise between men he'd made to Chihiro. But how does moving the body keep his secret?
Because...
Everyone knew he'd been killed in the boys' locker room. And everyone would have been arguing about how she got into the boys' locker room, right? Once that started up, at least a few of us would have immediately begun to suspect his identity, so... He tried to protect Chihiro's secret by putting him in the girls' locker room and stealing his handbook. See? And Mondo did all he did to keep... did all that to keep the promise he'd made Chihiro, who he'd also killed. Killed? How would he do that? The more I hear you talk, the more I don't understand. I mean, you guys trusted each other, right? But why? Why did you? No matter what, I didn't want anyone to know.
I knew it.
So that's what triggered it after all. The ability of having your embarrassing memories and secrets exposed.
What is this?
It's impossible. Nothing could have been that bad. Something you didn't want anybody to know, even if it meant killing someone? It's impossible.
Don't make me repeat myself.
How many times must I repeat myself? Judge others by your own standard is the height of folly. Even if you can't comprehend it, he obviously can. That's all there is to it. Well, while we're here on the subject, why don't I tell you? That embarrassing memory, that secret he didn't want anyone to know.
Hey,
You know what Mondo did? He killed his own brother. That's less of an embarrassing secret, more of like a terrible secret. Mondo, the ultimate biker gang leader, makes all the hoodlums and riffraff across the country tremble. The only reason he had the chance to join a gang in the first place was because of a certain someone. Mondo's older brother named Daya Owada. Mondo had nothing but respect for him. It was because of Daya that Mondo ever got on a motorcycle. The elevator gets stuck. 8 people call the police. 10 people wait for it to start moving. 5 people pulls out their phone and sits down. 12 people cry in the corner. 4 people do unspeakable things, 4 people try to fix the elevator, 9 people try to crawl out, 4 people are the reason it got stuck. 4 people did the naughty. Where's the question? It sounds like there's a question. Oh, and 4 people are the reason it got stuck? And which Dangon characters go where? I thought this was a lateral thinking question. Mondo's brother was his only family growing up. He was the only one Mondo trust or respect. I'm not sure because I'm terrible at remembering their names. You've caught me off guard. I don't know how to answer that question. There's too many people to name for me to be able to say it out loud. Mondo's brother was his only family growing up. He was the only one Mondo could trust or respect. He wanted to measure up to his big brother, so he imitated him in everything he did. Mondo was the epitome of the starry-eyed kid brother. Meanwhile, the charismatic older brother had put together a local motorcycle gang, and therefore before anyone knew it, he'd grown into the biggest biker gang in the country. Daya, the older brother, number 1 in the gang, and his number 2, his younger brother Mondo. I don't know how to answer your question there, Catherine. I feel bad because you've written it all out. I mean, the way you've written it is like a puzzle. In the beginning, everything was peaches and gravy. I have to go to bed soon. I was hoping to wrap this up. In the beginning, everything was peaches and gravy. Peaches and gravy? But when Mondo started to think about how he would have to take over the gang from his brother someday, his brother's greatness, his reputation began to gnaw on Mondo's very soul. Kid's gonna take over for Daya, huh? Daya created his gang with his bare hands. Mondo's just along for the ride. Would someone like that really be our leader? All that'll do is make the gang look bad. Almost every day Mondo heard the gossip and whispers of the other gang members. Which is why
I just...
I get stronger than Daya. You're losing me there, Catherine. Sorry, it's late at night here, so I'm not entirely sure what you're getting at. Danganronpa 1 numbers are 2, 4, 2, 4, 1. None of these numbers are game 2 and 1 respectively. Okay. I don't understand the point you're. I mean, is this just an idea that you have, or is this? Yeah, well done. I've been puzzled by this, and I've been puzzled by you as well. No matter what, I gotta win.
Don't fuck with me.
I don't care what it takes. I've got to come out on top. And on the night of this amazing brother's retirement ceremony, Mondo challenged him to a street race. But during the race, tragedy struck. The brother pushed ahead with reckless abandon, eager for victory, and dashed into oncoming traffic. But suddenly, bro pushed him out of the way. Laying in his brother's arms, the older brother delivered his final words. My bad, kid. I fucked up. Sorry. Reading off what Danganronpa characters do if the elevator is stuck. Of course, he knew it was his brother's fault, but Daya never blamed him for what happened. Hey kid, rest up. The rest is up to you, no matter what you gotta... I can barely even read out loud now. After 3 hours, I can barely even speak properly, and I'm almost at 4. Hey kid, the rest is up to you. No matter what, you gotta keep the gang together. It's the team, you and me put together. It's a promise between men. He decided to hide the truth of what happened to everyone else in the gang, in order to keep the gang together and keep the promise to his brother. He could never admit to anyone that it was his own weakness that had caused the accident. As a result, the team was made even stronger under the banner of the kid who'd bested his big brother. Dyer was gonna lose to his kid brother, so he got stupid and got himself killed. That became the explanation for what happened. Mondo's lie became the truth. He wanted to leave the team so bad he was willing to tell all kinds of lies about his brother. Strong. Strong. And yet, as soon as our killing game began, he realised, no matter how tough he had pretended to be, he was just another weakling that could die in an instant. And then the hateful Monokuma announced the revealing of the embarrassing secrets. At that point, it was clear I would have no problem shedding light on this secret. Oh, thank you very much for the follow, Sausage and Toast. Oh, you're making me hungry. I've not eaten this evening, and it's 11:10? Yeah, it's 11:10. I've not eaten since lunchtime. At this point, it was clear. Thank you very much for the follow, Sausage and Toast. What's your favourite game? So, Catherine, are you asking me to say names, or you have puzzled me? You might have to repeat this when I'm not half asleep. So I understand what you're saying, which people would be where. I'm just not entirely sure why or how you're answering it. Mondo killed his own older brother. No matter what. I mean, are you kind of just telling me that you've done that? Is that part of how you write your stories? I know you said that you write stories for it. And is this what you're getting at? Right. No matter what, I couldn't let the other gang members find out. If that happened, everything would have been ruined. Everything me and my brother had worked to create would have been destroyed. His death, all the guilt I've been carrying around, it would have been for nothing. So that's why I... Mondo. After I saw Monokuma had on me, it filled up with a kind of fuzzy uneasiness and I just started swirling around. I never felt anything like it before. I didn't know what to do about it. I wasn't sure what to say, think or say, but after a while, that fuzzy uneasiness turned itself into a rock-hard lump of anxiety way down in my stomach. And it was right around then that Chihiro asked me to start working out with him. And then right there, he told me a secret. Seriously? Jesus.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry I lied to you. But why? Why now? Why are you telling me all of this all of a sudden? Huh? I mean, you've kept it a secret all this time, right? If anyone found out, you would...
But...
You're right, but...
I want to change.
Want to change. Wrap myself in lies. I'm weak. I want to destroy that version of me forever. Words were like a knife in my gut. I felt like he was exposing the lie I'd been living with myself. I have to change. I don't want to be weak anymore. You're so strong, it can't hurt you, right? Whatever secret Monokuma might tell us.
You piece of...
So what you're saying is I could just say it.
What?
I could just say it.
What?
I'm gonna have to crash soon. I can barely... You're saying if I really am, I should be able to tell everyone my secret? Huh? I was jealous. I was jealous of Chihiro's strength. He had the strength to face his own weakness, to try and overcome it. It was the kind of strength I'd never had. But I was jealous of him. And that jealousy broke me.
What?
I did wonder why.
What?
Are you making fun of me? I'm strong. Are you fucking with me right now?
No!
I'm not making fun of you. You're really strong, Mondo. I felt like I could hear something starting to creak. Something inside my head. What did he want me to do? What was I supposed to do? Was I supposed to just sit back and let my secret get revealed and ruin everything?
What's wrong?
Well, what's wrong?
Damn you!
Why did you have to tell me that? You trying to rub my failure in my face?
I just wanted
No, I just really admire you. Admire your strength.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right, I am strong. Strong, I'm strong. Strong. Stronger than you.
You son of a bitch!
Stronger than dire? I don't remember anything after that. And when I woke up again, he was laying at my feet covered in blood. I had the dumbbell in my hand and I was just staring at him down on the ground. Hey.
I
killed him.
Killed him.
If we don't see what happens to Mondo in 5 minutes, I'm gonna have to end the stream. It's getting really late. I've got work in them.
I
killed him.
Chihiro.
I killed Chihiro.
Even after all this time, I'm still just as weak as I've always been. And thanks to that, I did something I can never take back.
Mondo. He's only so aggressive, so angry. Hid that weak side away from everyone. That was his secret. A weakness like that lived in his heart, like his, and it turned him into cold-blooded. God damn it! Look at him. You see, you're all just like him. For a secret from the past, for a memory. That he killed another living human in cold blood. He couldn't cut free his regrets from the outside world. He doesn't know what true strength is. You see hope anywhere in there? 'Cause I sure don't. Bastard. Shut up, you son of a bitch. Go ahead and say that again, I dare you.
Yep.
Say it as many times as I want. What I want to say, but unfortunately I can't do that right now because the time for the punishing is fast approaching. Punishing? You mean the execution?
Well now.
That's what I promised you, right? The Blacken that deserves the peace will be punished.
Ridiculous.
Hold on.
Now then, I
I prepared a very special punishment for the Mondo Awada. Yeah, ultimate biker gang leader. Wait.
Let's give it everything we've got! It's punishment time!
Said, wait!
Sorry, man. I couldn't keep the promise we made. From one man to another.
Mondo has been found guilty. Time for the punishment. Oh, so that's not yours, Catherine. Okay. It was something to do with a motorbike. Monokuma's got the same hair. The Cage of Death. Cage of Death. Okay. Oh. So, you got electrocuted? My TV just turned off. I missed it. Laugh at death and your soul will be forever at peace. I'm gonna actually have to rewind my own video to watch it. I didn't see what happened. I just saw fucking the ball that he was in. It all turned white and then my TV turned off. Sake. Laugh at death and your soul will forever be at peace. Can't be. My brother. Another murder. Just Pogger's Monokuma. Hey, welcome to the chat, Sausage and Toast. Another murder, another execution. I want to feel again. I don't know what Poggers means, but yeah. I missed it. So I'm going to have to rewind my own video. Everyone's lives are taken so lightly here. I feel like I might be going mad. Maybe I'll just let it happen. Ah! As Taka's sad screams invaded our skulls, we were each forced to realise once again that he, of course he had to. What a disappointment. This is the end of the game for Byakuya.
What is this?
You're completely insane, you know that? A game? One of our friends is dead, do you realise that?
Naturally.
Of course I do, because this game is life or death.
Hey.
Okay, I'm going to have to save it there, because it's 20 past 11, and I've got to get some food before I go to sleep. So I'm going to save that there. Thank you very much for coming to watch, everyone. I'm going to be back on okay. I'll be back on Wednesday. Take Tuesdays off. But thank you very much for coming and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I'll check out that thing, Catherine, if you send that to me on my Discord. I'll know what you mean. Yeah, so thank you very much for everyone again for coming to watch. I hope to catch you on Wednesday. I'll be a little bit more awake by then, hopefully. Other than that, everyone have a great evening, or day, or morning, or afternoon. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you soon. And cheers and gone. Bye bye.